A beautiful stage sets for a new season, a new page for what will be another fantastic year of great racing and a huge field trying to capture the all-time prize for the first time this season. Welcome everyone to the 4Wide Racing TJ's Team Series and the 1,000 Islands Corrette pre-race show on the KBueno Racing Network as we get ready for the opener of Season 8 from the World Center of Racing and the virtual Daytona International Speedway. It is so great to be back. Thankful that you're joining us here on the KBueno Racing Network, where alongside Keelan Belcher, and Charlie Byer, we'll have Francisco Bacchiao as our driver analyst tonight. I am Kenneth Bueno. Bit of a habit that I've had for the last several months since we haven't had 4Wide Racing, and welcome back, Keelan and Charlie. It's been a little bit of a minute. We had you last on the 4Wide shows. We didn't see you all that much through SAC and DTH, but Keelan, it's great to be back in this moment right now. 4Wide, a series that culminated into a crazy championship run several months ago, back in the fall, back with the new season where the competition just continues to level up.
Yeah, it's great to be back with you guys, and we're getting ready for a great race tonight, Kenneth. And if the duels last week were any indication, tonight is going to be absolutely insane. I like to think back to last year's race where it was really crazy and ended with the Steven Stempian victory. I think we get a lot of the same tonight. These guys race really well on these super speedways. I think we'll have a similar outcome here tonight.
And Charlie, we come into this season with a lot of new questions, but a lot of the same as well. Many of the returning drivers, now some of them sophomores, some of them still entering their 5th, 6th, even 7th, maybe 8th season of their 4Wide tenure. And with Brandon Hawken winning the title last season, as we know it, he's not going to be joining this year's festivities as far as we see for the moment. So that means door wide open for everyone. And from what we saw last season, many different contenders can take Daytona on tonight. perhaps a new winner in the cards, but it is this first chance for somebody to step forward and try to become the next great four-wide driver. It starts in this race this evening.
Yeah, and you want to talk about marquee events and marquee series on KBueno. Four-wide really encapsulates everything that KBueno has been working for over the last few years. So, guys, we're in for an exciting one tonight. Last season was a blast, even with Brandon Hawken dominating most of the season. The door's wide open. We have a lot of new drivers stepping up. And you want to talk about a fresh page. This is a great opportunity for these drivers to really swing some momentum in their favor towards the beginning of a season, rack up some wins, and finally get that top spot for a few of them.
It's a great point. Blank slate for a lot of these drivers heading into this brand new Season 8 schedule, which has its own curveballs, believe it or not. A lot of different changes that Tyler Murray and the admin team at 4Wide have gone through to figure out what a schedule would look like to perfectly encapsulate Season 8 in this new era of 4Wide racing. Of course, we start tonight at Daytona. It's going to be those tracks that probably never moves in terms of opening the season, but we've seen Auto Club there as well. Lots of new faces in Montreal. We'll be going up north for the first time, so for our Canadian-born drivers in this series, they're going to have a lot of fun repping their home country when we go up there in early October. We're going to be out of Kentucky, the Bluegrass State, which hasn't hosted a NASCAR Cup Series race in several years now. It's going to be hosting a 4Wide event this year. We're going to go to Homestead, Miami for the All-Star race, so no longer is South Florida the host of the championship finale. That will go to the semi-final date that'll happen in late April. Auto Club, which has stood as an opener several times in 4Wide history, now will be the end-all race for the Championship 5 to go at it for a title in 2026. So we've got a very exciting schedule. A lot of great things to show you here on the KBueno Racing Network. And just like always, we're happy that you are joining us for what could be another fantastic edition of this series that really continues to impress. And Season 7 was really no different. When Brandon Hawken, Steven Maggio, Curtis Kelly, Lawson Peel, and Jaden Porter took the stage in South Florida, they all knew only one of them would be concerned as champion by the end of that race to the checkered flag. It became a storybook moment for one of the most dominating seasons we have ever seen. If you missed that race months ago, take a look at how it all went down. And for the final time in Season 7, we are racing, this time for a championship. And there's trouble on the back straightaway off of turn 2.
Brandon Banks.
And many guys are involved. Eric Schaefer, CJ Munier.
Oh no! Trouble, Lawson Peel and Jaden Porter.
Oh, and a huge crash. Jaden Porter's involved. I don't think he got that much damage. The strategy gone wrong off the restart. And yeah, you're right. Here come the leaders on pit road. It's going to be Brandon, though, all by himself. This race still in the hands of Championship 5 leader and Canada native Brandon Hawken. Hill shuts him off, and then he tries to shut him off again in turn 3. Schaefer sends it, and it's a hellacious crash.
That is two guys who have not seen eye to eye all year, by the way, Kenneth.
We've seen a lot of guys go 50-ish laps on their set of tires and that tank. But how close will it get for Hawken and Kelly, and how short will they be if they can't make it? Has put together a nearly perfect race and will cap it off with a nearly perfect season and a first ever championship. It's a 7th different champion in 4Wide history, and it belongs to the Canadian. Brandon Hawken is the Season 7 4Wide racing champion. Brandon Hawken, history made at Homestead. There's the top 10 from the Homestead of Miami Speedway in what was a fantastic championship finale, Keelan. We had it all. We had strategy, we had great racing up at the front, but of course, the most deserving driver was the deserving champion at the end, Brandon Hawken, just settling out what became one of the most dominant seasons we've ever seen. 9 race victories. That does include that Homestead win. And there's Steven Maggio, Curtis Kelly, who had great races to put up at the end, just was not enough with a great top 10 run.
And it was a spectacular race, Kenneth, start to finish. We had it all. It was really unfortunate for Lawson Peel and Jaden Porter how they got in trouble really early in that race, but that's just the way these formats work in the playoffs that we run in this series. You can make it all the way to the championship, but if you can't put together that perfect race like Brandon Hawken did on that day, you're not going to be celebrating as a champion. So a lot of people rethinking, they're getting their mentality straight goal number one is going to be to make the playoffs. That's going to start tonight. But last year it really was just a storybook season for Brandon Hawkins. Going to go down as one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen.
A fantastic show out. And Charlie, I mean, you look at this top 10, a lot of cool names in here. Not only drivers in that Championship 5 fight and some of the heavy hitters that we were accustomed to seeing at front, Gabriel Zahari, Kyle Benson, Brandon Banks, but a great race for Rivers Jones, Michael Newbraw, and Craig Parks putting in top 10 efforts in the end of a strategy race, and Trevor Haley in his sophomore season putting up good showing for P10.
Yeah, I mean, these are household names for us. For us three and the KBueno crew, these are names that we throw around to each other a lot. These are also names that we're going to expect to see at the front of this field throughout the course of this season, and names that we can count on to put on a great show. So I have no faith, and I'm looking at the practice scoreboard right now. I'm seeing a lot of similar names as the results of that race. So, guys, everyone's back, and we're ready to kick this off.
We only have several rookie drivers in this field, a lot of them great names, a lot of them welcome into this series, and we hope that we can give you the information of what their stories are like as they join 4Wide for the first time. But again, similar names seem to dominate the top of the board. Brandon Hawkins was there at Homestead. Who can it be when we go to Auto Club Speedway in early 2026? Well, the man who has seen it all behind the wheel of the ship throughout this entire 4Wide tenure is none other than Mr. Tyler Murray, and he joins us now. Tyler, welcome back to another season. We were talking to you just last week before the duels. You kind of gave those similar thoughts of how exciting it is to be back after what is a little bit of a shorter off season. How exciting is it to be here at Daytona? Now it's game time, first race of Season 8.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. The intensity level's up a lot right now, and just anxious to get the car on track and get the green flag from Bernie.
You know, Kyle was talking to us earlier on tonight, and he didn't really have much faith in himself. He said that him and basically everyone else was on flip watch. We're probably going to use that term a lot over tonight's race. But, Tyler, concerning this field and what it looks like heading into this race, what have you been able to gather from not only the returning level of drivers, but to those OGs and even some of the new names that we'll be encountering over the course of this year and early 2026?
Yeah, a lot of the new names, you know, I've heard around the iRacing community before. Haven't had a chance to race with a lot of them until I was in your guys' truck series that you run on Mondays. And just the talent level every year seems to just take it up a notch. And I don't know if necessarily I'm just getting worse with the updates or if everybody else is just getting so much better. But it's kind of crazy to me how good the rookie class is going to be this year, and just how much talent we're able to find year in and year out to make this league what it is. It's just, it blows my mind, and it's going to be definitely hard. Definitely looking at Daytona and Talladega as, you know, the big bold letters on the schedule for myself. I think those are my best shot unless I can catch some fuel mileage racing here soon.
Hey, we still got faith in the old 4Wide Lord. That's for us. We're still believing in you to try to capture a victory this season. Hopefully it's sometime soon, maybe tonight at Daytona. But coming down to it, last question before we send you off into the rest of this warm-up session and into the green flag. Who do you have winning tonight? Are you going to bet on yourself, or do you have a favorite you feel like will go out and take the checkered flag?
You know, a lot of your guys' drivers, the KBueno guys, they seem to have really worked their way to the front. But I've had some experience with a lot of these guys, and me personally, I'm not calling my own shot. I always wreck out in the opening race, whether it's coming off a 4 in third place with a chance to win or lap 3, I'm gonna wreck. So it's gonna happen. This car is gonna be in the wall. But I think honestly, one of the drivers that I would keep an eye on tonight is that 4 car, Trevor Haley. He seems to always find a way to work his way to the front when it matters the most. And he won the Truck Series race that you guys hosted a couple weeks ago at Daytona, and he's just really good at drafting. And I really look for him sometimes when I'm in the middle lane and I got to jump up high and jump in front of somebody to push me to the front. I'm looking for that dark horse.
All right, not a bad pick, Tyler. But maybe we'll be talking to you calling to the end of that flag race, and hopefully it'll be a win for you tonight from Daytona. But Tyler, as always, much love from all of us at the KBueno Racing Network. Thank you for letting us cover another edition of this series, and we'll see you on track for the green flag.
Absolutely. You guys have a good broadcast. That
is Tyler Murray, a part of Murray Reedy Motorsports. There he is, car number 36 tonight, as he has been for the last couple of seasons in 4-wide action. He has really done a fantastic job alongside the admin team to keep this series going. And if you don't know Tyler off the track, he is a stand-up guy. He is amazing, and he is a big part of why we continue to cover this series on the KBueno Racing Network today. Trying to put in some practice laps here with new rookie driver that is part of that GOAT Inc. team of Randall Payne, is number 46. We'll dive into him and some of the other storylines as we go further into our pre-race show tonight. Well, if you missed the last week's action, we were dual racing right here at Daytona International Speedway. Pair of duels, 30 laps each, came down to average finishing position to decide where each and every driver would be starting this race tonight. Here is the beginning of duel number 1. Good start by Dark Horse Racing, Keelan, Juan Escamilla, Nicholas Bauman getting the edge early, but much like all Daytona races, we would have good racing and we would have some crashing as well.
It would. That was the theme all night. That bottom line started going, and they started taking the spots away, and that's kind of how this race got going. But then, first caution of the night, Ethan Fonseca Moreno got a lot of damage in it. He gets tagged by Tristan Bailey, Tyler Murray, AJ Green pile in. There were several cars banged up and who did not get a good dual 1 result, and that has them deep in the field tonight. A little bit later in the show, coming around 7 laps to go. A big stack up there on the bottom, stacked everybody up. Nicholas Bauman and Daniel Moore got together to cause an incident right there. Kevin D'Elia also involved, and that would breed another caution a little bit later, but the restart came with Colin Forster, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer on the front row, and Colin Forster knew he wasn't going to be racing here tonight, so he was just going out there trying to play spoiler, Kenneth.
He was putting it all on the line, and he made really good use of it at the end of what would be duel number 1. This was the chase to the start-finish line, trying to go drag racing to the line, 3 wide. Curtis Kelly nearly had him, and by 8/1000ths of a second, Colin Forster was able to capture the duel 1 win. Now, because he's not racing tonight, Curtis Kelly got the eligibility for a front row starting spot. This was the beginning of the second duel. Different look up front, Tristan Bailey and Brandon Banks. And again, you had to race both duels if you wanted to have a starting spot tonight. Lawson Peel, who spun at the end of duel 1, had trouble early in the second duel in the first 5 to 10 laps. There's him nosing into the inside wall. And then right after, the push to the front for KBueno Racing, Francisco Bacalhau, Ethan Fonseca Moreno would find their way to the outside and to the lead. They would try to hold on for as long as they could with great racing behind. And then more trouble. Tyler Murray getting turned around, Craig Lounslugger, Rodney Roberts, Logan Gill, and the rest of them at the back of the group end up being involved. This was nearly midway through the race, and we would have a similar pattern occur. Lots of green flag action late, and then some cautions that would spice things up. There's Bacalhau and Moreno taking control of the field before big-time chaos in the Trioval. Curtis Kelly, Randall Payne tagged together at the exit of the Trioval banking. Trevor Haley, Zachary Cato, and Colin Forster were then involved. That would ignite what would become the first and only attempt of overtime racing in the second duel. Fantastic start by Moreno, but at the end of the race, Francisco Bacalhau would find the energy on the bottom lane and would surge forward as the field wrecked behind him. Bacalhau takes the win in duel number 2. He's going to start outside of the front row when we take the green flag tonight later on in the coverage. So Curtis Kelly, the pole sitter, Bacalhau on the outside of the front row. They become very successful in both of the dual races that will set the field for when we go racing here this evening. Daytona has really been a place of wonder, a place of prestige, and a place where really any stock car racing driver, real life or sim racing, really want to win. And this 4-wide racing opener tonight, the World Center of Racing, is no different. But when we go back to our KBRN moment in time today, it's not one of the flashy drivers that's in this field tonight. It's someone alongside me in the broadcast booth taking the victory in a classic 2021 edition of LWRC here from Daytona. Welcome to today's KBRN moment in time. Today we dive into a hidden gem and LWRC's return at Daytona in 2021. We are ready to kick things off at a brand new time for 2021, and as they come into the Trioval, Aiden B. Murray will lead the field to the green flag. We're up and away for the LWRC Race Paint Series. As one of the first select broadcasts of the 2021 year on the KBueno Racing Network, some notable names were in this opening race, including Parker White, Richard Mendonça, and KBRN colleague and good friend Charlie Beyer. The proper way to describe this race was good racing sprinkled with chaos, as whenever a green run developed, a crash would change the game again. leaders found trouble around halfway with a big one, and it opened up the door for Mitch Hobbs and his Valvoline Ford to lead up front. But all of a sudden, in the final laps, there was Beyer slinging to the outside and taking the lead, and then holding on to capture his first win on a KBRN broadcasted race. A shining moment and a really fun memory for us at the network. And that's today's KBRN Moment in Time. Hey, what a moment from Daytona, Charlie. I mean, you told us that you really remember anything from that race. I hope that's not really true right now, come to think of it with that video, but cool moment. I mean, you getting the checkered flag. I think we've had every member of KBRN take at least one lap on a KBRN broadcasted show right now, which is pretty cool.
Well, it's nice to have the honor of actually having a win on KBRN. But yeah, you're right. I have to go deep into the memory banks to think about that race and that win. I remember making that move on the back straightaway past Mitch Hobbs, and taking that win and holding off. I believe Hunter Rupp was up there as well. So yeah, that was definitely a fun race. And Daytona, it's been nice to me, but it's also been pretty rude to me. But I guess with KBRN and Kenneth in the booth, it kind of helps give me a little juice to go get that win. That's awesome. Keelan, you and I have to find a way to lock in because we haven't won a race on a KBRN broadcasted series yet. I'm trying my best in our truck series that we run on Monday nights. Keelan, you were close to Talladega last season in this series. I think we gotta lock in somehow to get a win.
Yeah, we got to. I mean, technically, I won a pre-race show. There was a pre-race show on the KBueno Racing Network, and I went on to win, but the win was not captured. That was the only issue. But
yeah, that's the thing.
I do have to lock in.
For those OG
the closest
fans,
I got was Talladega.
That's true. That was a great finish, by the way, with a top 5 finish at the flag and a photo finish effort. I really got to count to those people who watch the IQSSL pre-race shows because we give them the benefit of hearing all the storylines and hearing everybody's thoughts before. We never give them the satisfaction of actually showing them the race. So they never know what happens after until one of us posts a picture on Instagram or something. So they're kind of lost forever in the dust. If you're a fan of IQSSL, I kind of apologize in a sense. But one driver that has found success and satisfaction here at Daytona is a driver that will not be racing with us tonight, but Steven Stempien, who's the owner of a fellow series we broadcast here on this network, the Drop in the Hammer Cup Series. He was able to strike gold at the World Center of Racing just last year when we were here to open Season 7 of this 4-Wide Racing TJ's Team Series, and it happened all in spectacular fashion all the way to the checkered. Tony Kivet, Brian Dixon to the green flag from Daytona. Car to the outside wall and up and over. That's Juan Escamilla, the rookie driver, who gets for a tumble. So is the defending champ, Ethan Fonseca Moreno. 2 laps to go on the first overtime restart from Daytona. Let's go. Here comes Steven Stempien saying, I want to win a duel and I want to win a race. Steven Stempien to the race win at the World Center of Racing.
Oh, I feel great, man. You know, I just was at the right place at the right time. It's a familiar place for me, Victory Lane at Daytona, so.
Daytona International Speedway, Charlie. Steven Stempien was able to capture the victory here 1 year ago in this series, but this track can really give a shining moment to anyone. This 2.5-mile oval opened back in 1959. It's a gem in NASCAR, no question.
And this is the birthplace of American speed. There's 4 daunting corners around this 2.5-mile racetrack, a banking of just over 31 degrees. And as you mentioned earlier, a track that not only real-life drivers want to win at, sim racers want to win here just as badly, as typically this track opens up a lot of seasons in a lot of different leagues. So it gives the people a lot of great opportunities to get up front on their own, find some friends, and go get a big win here.
It really is special. I mean, this is one of those tracks where no matter who you are, no matter what series you run in, if you run at Daytona on an oval, you want to go out and win. It's so prestigious and it has that aura even in a virtual world. That's what's really cool about that connection between real life racing and what we have here on iRacing, just how meaningful it is for a lot of these drivers in the field. Some of them young, some of them older, and a lot of them with that always passion for sim racing, and it is really, really cool. So Daytona is just one of those great tracks that we'll visit a couple of times in the schedule, 3 times in fact. One of them will be on the infield road course. That'll come by later on in the season. We'll get into those details once we get into those races later on. Well, guys, it's been a fun pre-race show so far tonight. We are still waiting for the green flag to drop. There is no qualifying in this session as we decided the running order from last week's duels, I think there's something that we're missing. There's an elephant in the room. I remember a certain KBRN Bowl that was played a couple of weeks ago. Charlie and Keelan, y'all remember that?
I do. I do. And this was you, Charlie, trying to get downfield. Had to throw it away. You're just trying to get the first down here. Talk us through it.
This is hilarious. Yeah, I feel this was our first quote KBRN Bowl, and you're about to see how this one ends. It was that's a whiff field goal that ended up going into the fitness center. So.
Hey, we got to take another replay. Look at that. I mean, it's way to left. I don't know if there was wind there or something, but it was all the way to maybe that trainer down there. If somebody opened that door, they would have been smacked with a football. There probably would have been a lawsuit there. But Keelan has the knee. That's formation. That's the end of the game. 13-10. It became a very defensive game early on, and it was close. Keelan ended up winning that. But Keelan has a very big surprise for you, Charlie, if you take a look on the screen.
Oh, I'll be looking. Oh, what is this?
What's going on, everybody? It's great to be here at the Roast of Charlie Byer, the first Roast of Charlie Byer. As you know, I'm going to be beating him in the KBRN Bowl many times in the near future, so he's going to have to prepare for that. But this was supposed to be here. This was supposed to air last week, so if you have your ticket, it was honored tonight. But as your host, I'll be transparent about why we did not get going last week. And to be honest, I was driving my truck up here to get ready for it, and I money shifted my truck. Transmission blew, engine blew, everything. I know you got that one, Charlie. I'm sorry about that. Now, you know, Charlie may be the least reliable person you can ever trust on, if I'm being honest with you. Like, I'm not graphically designed talented like he is, but, you know, he'll always be like, yeah, I'll get that going for you, and then I check on him a week later, and he ain't even started on nothing. So do not trust Charlie Byer with anything important. Like, I know one of our buddies had Charlie plan his wedding. The wedding ended up being 3 months later than planned. You can't trust him for nothing. So, well, everybody, we'd like to thank you for a great night here at the Charlie Byer Roast, and we hope that you enjoy the following program of the 4-Wide Racing TJ's Team Series from the Daytona International Speedway, race number 1. This next roast is going to take place at the Shrimp Peeling Factory. It's going to be on a movie that will come out in about 15 years, knowing Charlie Byer. So, anyways, it's good seeing everybody. It's good seeing everybody, and we'll be back at the KBRN studios with Kenneth Bueno now.
Well, Charlie, I hate doing it to you, Charlie, but, you know, we did make a bet that if whoever wins the KBRN Bowl has to go up to a punishment on the 1000 Island Crewette pre-race show. So I hope you don't mind. I tried not to go too deep on you. I went easy on you this time, but if you let me win back-to-back KBRN Bowls, you're in trouble.
I think there were a few cheap shots in there that I think you could have dug a little deeper, but no, definitely you definitely dug back into the memory bank to find some of those. Yeah, this is just you know, as a coach, it's going to motivate my players to play harder, and we'll come back and we'll even out the record in the KBRN Bowl.
So when is this next KBRN Bowl happening for those watching? Will it happen in the next couple months? Is it next year, or what are we doing?
It might need to be scheduled. This just have to be a scheduled event that's broadcasted, and that'll be how it's decided again.
Charlie, I'm gonna just need you to get a new kicker if you're gonna revamp a game against Keelan. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's right. Well, the kicker was actually left at LA Tech University, so he's not with us anymore.
All right, well, that's just a little fun for those that tune in with us on the KBueno Racing Network. We have a lot of fun off the track. I mean, we are good friends off of the sim and off of these broadcasts, and I am going to admit I spend a lot of my time watching Charlie's Twitch, watching Keelan's YouTube. I'll be watching their Dynasty games sometimes. I'm interested. I'm a little bit too broke, I feel, to buy a PS5 my own self, but it's still fun to watch. And for those watching the KBRN Bowl, may be broadcasted soon, so maybe coming to a YouTube screen near your house. But we are entering the final 8.5 minutes of this warm-up session. Still a long time to go as these drivers prep for this opening race tonight from the virtual Daytona International Speedway in Keelan. Let's talk a bit about these returning favorites. In Daytona history, we really haven't had a repeat winner when Daytona opens the campaign. And last season, pair of different winners as well. Steven Stempien, like we saw earlier on this show, taking the victory last season. We had Scott Healy spoiling the party at the World Center of Racing here the last time we were at this track in the regular season finale. Any names to you that really stand out in terms of guys that are hungry to get victories, or maybe those surprise names that you may not see at the front every single week having a chance to win tonight?
I think Kenneth, the team we're going to have to pay the most attention to is going to be those guys that overcorrect racing with Colin's not in the field, but AJ Green, Adam Alishire, a couple guys who have had some success here at Daytona in the past. I would expect them to try to keep that momentum going. They're always up front towards the end of these races. So I feel like those are guys that we're going to have to take a look at. You see that 48 car, he was up front a lot in the duels, but they didn't really pan out to where he could get in victory lane, but he has a okay starting position, so and in the sixth position, so he's going to see what he can do in that 48 car. He's going to have some teammates out there to help him, but no Brandon Hawkin mounting the charge for that team this season. It may be a little different, but it does give a chance for a new face of Overcorrect Racing to step up, and I think AJ Green could be that guy tonight.
And that's a team formerly known as not Stonks, but still kind of Stonks. They ended up winning the team championship last season, which is also something to note, not only because of Hawkins' success, obviously, but for all of those other guys, for Curtis Kelly and his great points run to the end of the championship 5, for AJ, for Colin, for all of the effort, Daniel Moore included in that. All of those guys put in such a good effort. Charlie, anybody that you see in this field that could be a surprise, or maybe a name we usually see at the front striking gold tonight from Daytona?
Well, when I think of formidable forces on super speedways, I like to recall the late race at Talladega last season where BBR was the class of the field, had a strategy that put them almost a straightaway ahead of the next cars in that field. And talk about forces such as Francisco Bacchiao, who's on your screen right now, who won the dual race. We see Steven Maggio up here. All of those people are going to be working together, and they're definitely going to be up in the front, or if not, at least close to it. So watch out for those blue cars tonight.
They are a force to be reckoned with, and that Talladega race was probably the best demonstrating effort of how good they can be when they work in tandem, when they work as a full-time group. There's Francisco Bacchiao and Steven Maggio alongside some of the KBueno Racing teammates that will take the green flag here this evening from Daytona. So plenty of great storylines, a lot of returning favorites, and plenty of former champions as well. Jaden Porter, Lawson Peel, you think of guys like Ethan Fonseca Moreno, Season 6 champ, also being able to potentially take a victory tonight. A lot of them either have good starting spots or they don't, but all of them with that same goal of being that first man across the line, no matter how it happens. Even if it's spinning across the line, they want to be that first driver to be successful. Well, 4Wide is more than just sim racing. We have a lot of great friends alongside me at the KBueno Racing Network, but knowing these drivers, we really become a family, especially after covering this series for the last several years. And one of our family members is in sorrow over the last week. Jaden Porter, Season 5 champion of this series, lost his father Frankie in a battle last week on August 19th. We honored him during our dual races last Wednesday. It is fair, though, that we honor him not only tonight and not only from last week, but for the entirety of season number 8. So please join us in a moment of silence as we send our love and thoughts to the Porter family alongside Jaden as he rides with his father tonight. Frankie Porter was 62 years old.
Let's go racing!
Welcome to the Thousand Islands Cruette in Clayton, New York. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come in for a tasting and our helpful and knowledgeable staff will help you find the perfect olive oils or vinegars to add that perfect touch to your next meal. We have monthly specials and sales, as well as new pairings and recipes, so there's always something new to try when you visit. The Thousand Islands Cruette on James Street in Clayton. And don't forget, hey, no touchy the tankies.
There's only one fuel that can drive the performance you demand from your car. New 94 Octane, the highest octane on the market, only at Sunoco.
Let's go. What's up? Yo, what's up, Kenneth? How you doing, man? How are you? Good. How you been? What you got in the bag, man?
I got a panini. I have a hoagie. I got it all through the Wall Rewards app.
You can order it all through the app?
You can order it all through the app.
I can order it all through the app. The world is my oyster! By placing your order on the Wawa app, you can pick up at any time with ultimate satisfaction. Gotta have a Wawa.
That's my bonus for my quota. Boy, don't nobody home. I just get a check in the jail with the set. All we do is rap. Ain't worried about next. I'm just making plays, Broadway in the flesh. On us, this right here in the on us.
Nothing in the motorsports world can compare to the scenes of an opening race, and nothing can quite prepare this field for what they will experience over 100 laps in the chase for gold, one small part of a paved road to the championship race. No other stage can compare to Daytona Beach, Florida, where live, the KBueno Racing Network welcomes you to the first race of Season 8 in the Season 8 4-Wide Racing TJ's Team Series and the running of the TJ's Team 250. Thank you so much for joining us once again on the KBueno Racing Network as we embark into a new series to tail off 2025 and bring in the 2026 year. Where alongside Keelan Belsha and Charlie Beyer, I am Kenneth Bueno. Guys, it's great to be back. One race, and we're going to start it all here at Daytona International Speedway. A place, Keelan, that has brought us many a close finish, many a great storyline, and now over 40 drivers who qualified their way in from the duels last Wednesday, now going for the ultimate prize of a playoff spot and a win.
Yeah, tonight's going to be super fun, Kenneth, and I'm excited to be here at the World Center of Racing here for the TJ's Team 250. It's going to be a lot of fun, and if it's anything like last week was with the crazy duels and the great racing we saw and some great winners that come out of those events, I think we're in for a treat tonight, Kenneth. These are some of the best sim racing drivers we've seen on the service here on the KBueno Racing Network, and a lot of guys who race really well with each other on super speedways, so we'll be excited.
Charlie, this is the start of a long journey for these drivers, over 25 plus races that will take you to the Championship 5 at the Virtual Auto Club Speedway. Tonight is a relatively familiar face in Daytona, but safe to say, through all of the curveballs that are thrown to the drivers in Season 8 that we will have over the course of the year, it's going to be so much fun to see how they adapt and just how much this competition will rise.
Yeah, and a great schedule that was put together by the admin team at 4Wide. And a lot of curveballs that you said. I know you're excited for Montreal, Kenneth. That's a track that you've shown a lot of love for over the years. Daytona Road Course, that's going to be another interesting one as we come back here. But on the infield road course, and how about Chicagoland? I love Chicagoland. And Old Atlanta, that's going to be interesting as well.
Going to be a lot of fun. Daytona Road Course, which we will be here in Daytona Beach, Florida later this season, not for oval racing. Auto Club now being the finale instead of Homestead, Miami, which will be bumped to the semifinal race, but we'll also host the All-Star race right before we kick in the Christmas break. Drivers are lined up behind the iRacing official pace car, so after all this time of waiting and after all of the anticipation, we are ready to bring you the start of the TJ's Team 250 in the 8th season edition of the 4Wide Racing TJ's Team Series. We're on the pole for the very first time in his 4Wide career is a driver that made the Championship 5 last season, Curtis Kelly, the Rothesay, New Brunswick Canadian. For Overcorrect Racing, will have the front row starting spot and the first view of the green flag tonight from Daytona. Francisco Bacalhau, our good friend and commentator at the KBueno Racing Network, swapping the headset for the steering wheel. The Hialeah, Florida native for Bacalhau Bueno Racing rolls off his number 30 Toyota on the outside of the first row. Back in row number 2 is where you'll find the 07 car of Justin Roth, the Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania native, for a brand new team, GOAT Incorporated, making their first step into 4Wide action tonight. And Nick Donatien, the 93 car, a driver from Daytona Beach, Florida, also member of that GOAT Incorporated team, trying to collect a hometown victory from the outside in position number 4. Back in the inside of row 3 is where you'll find the Murray Reedy Motorsports number 35 of Tristan Bailey. He's been stout at super speedways before in his career. And Clemens, North Carolina's AJ Green, new member of that Overcorrect Racing team. Season 3 champion of this series, has won twice here at Daytona in his career. Back in row number 4, of course, our league owner and good friend, Tyler Murray, the 36 car driver out of Middletown, Delaware for Murray Reedy Motorsports. And on the outside of him in position number 8, a new manufacturer, new colors, but the same old 19 for Timothy Cook. He'll be on the outside in the 8th spot. Back in row number 5 is where you'll find one of the several rookie drivers for season number 8, Logan Gill, the driver out of Hammond, Louisiana, independent driver. It is number 22. And the 11 car of Chris Fowler on the outside in P10.
Back in the 6th row from Columbus, Mississippi for Drinkin' Bros Racing, we have the 12 of Lawson Peel looking to get in victory lane tonight. Craig Parks in the 17 out of Lansing, Michigan. His teammate will start on the 12th position. In row 7 for Muncie, Indiana, it's going to be Christopher Bishop from Murray Reedy Motorsports. Michael Walls, the rookie, to his outside out of Nesbitt, Mississippi for Goat Inc. In the 8th row, we have Randall Payne in the 46 car with Stephen Maggio to his outside. In the number 51, Gabriel Dehari from Houston, Texas will start in the 17th position with Eric Schaefer for Drinkin' Bros Racing. And Hampton, Virginia, starting on his outside and rounding out the top 20 is the 5 car of Brandon Banks, a super speedway ace in that 5 car from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and Louisville, Kentucky's Jaden Porter outside the top 20.
Inside of row number 11, that's Nicholas Bauman from Connorsville, Pennsylvania for Dark Horse Racing. And to his outside, a BBR driver by the name of Ethan Fonseca Moreno, the former champion, starts in position number 22. Trevor Haley from Indianapolis, Indiana, starts in the 23rd position for Dark Horse Racing. And Jacob Locklear for Goat Incorporated, he will start 24th. Inside of row number 3, that's Jonathan Jurgensmeyer from Illinois for Bacalhau Bueno Racing. And to his outside, Michael Newbrow from Ohio for Drinkin' Bros Racing. Row number 14 to the inside, that's Kyle Benson from Williamsport, Pennsylvania for Murray Reedy Motorsports, at number 38. And Juan Escamilla, another Indianapolis native, he starts in position number 28. And rounding out your top 30 to the inside, that's Brian Dixon in the number 03. And to his outside from St. Charles, Indiana, another Indiana native for Overcorrect Racing, that's Kevin D'Elia. That'll round out your top 30.
Back in 31st is the rookie driver driving the number 23 tonight, Zachary Cato, 31st. Adam Alashire, the Sunbury, Ohio native for Overcorrect Racing, new number this year. He's driving the 10 to the green flag in every race in season number 8. Behind them, you'll find the St. Leonard, Maryland native, Tony Kibbett in his number 76 car for Drinkin' Bros Racing, and the 49 machine of Jason Hastings, Bakersfield, California's own for DBR. He'll be on the outside in 34th place. Behind them is the 77 car of Daniel Moore from Lafargeville, New York for Overcorrect Racing. And then on the outside, the 32 machine from Independence, Kentucky, Cody Spare, making another start here from Daytona. Back in 37th is where you'll find Craig Lounslugger, the Euless, Texas native for Murray Reedy Motorsports, and that will close out our field tonight from Daytona International Speedway. Several drivers that asked for waivers but are not in this race include Mikey Neal, the Wake Forest, North Carolinian, Austin Reedy from Townsend, Delaware, and Eric Stewart, the Ontario Canadian for Drinkin' Bros Racing. They were set to join the field tonight. They are not on the starting grid. We go 100 laps from the World Center of Racing. That equates to 250 miles here from Daytona Beach, Florida. This track has provided so many different scenarios over the course of these years that we've been covering it here on the KBueno Racing Network, from strategy to all-out pace to all-out draft to crashes at the end. Who knows? We could be in for a very, very big show. And for Curtis Kelly, this may be one of the standout moments of his four-wide career. Told us at the end of season number 7 that he was looking to become a dark horse. Well, after all of that momentum and after finishing top 3 in the Championship 5 ranks, from the front row, he will have a chance to put his foot out first, far from the rest of the field, as we're ready to take the green. Kelly and Bacalhau take us green flag racing for the first time in season 8. And under the clouds here from Daytona, new race leader after lap number 1. Nick Donati, the rookie driver, takes the lead away with AJ Green. Curtis Kelly front running 3 to the inside. Bacalhau had taken the lead momentarily, stepped out in front of Kelly at the beginning of lap number 1. They're going to fight hard here at the outside of turn 2, Keelan, but for right now, Goat Incorporated will have hold of the first lap lead in 4-wide racing season 8. Bacalhau trying to push forward to the super stretch.
This is probably something that we will see all night long down these front stretch and back stretch areas. You just get so much momentum built up when the top line is organized, and it leads to that top line eventually leading the race. You can lead the bottom and kind of mount the charge once you guys get organized. But, oh, Bacalhau gets shot out of line, and he's going to come down pit road at a high rate of speed. He got shot out of line right there by Timothy Cook, who was behind him. Micah Walls now goes into the race lead, but that'll be bad news for Bacalhau. That'll be a speeding penalty that he will likely have to serve as this race progresses. But that is a big break for that 30 car as Micah Walls gets out to the race lead.
Saw his camera right before we put it up on the feed, but he was fighting that wheel, and for good reason. He got pushed out of line there at the exit of turn 4, chased it down to pit road, and had a good job of saving the race car to avoid any contact to the inside wall. But we will await any words from race control, because of course that is a penalty not deserved for Bacalhau, given that he was just avoiding wrecking the race car. But he came in at a high rate of speed, and new race leader in turn of all of that, Michael Walls, the 60 machine, taking the front spot.
And that's a black flag that was taken away from Francisco going down the pit lane, so he'll have to serve no penalty, but at the cost of unfortunately slowing down to a slow pace to pit road speed itself when he got shoved, or excuse me, when he saved the car to go down pit road. But back up front, those GOAT cars do have a commanding presence, guys. You will see them, and you will know that they're part of that team. A big shove of that 36 Becker, and later into the pack, you can see a GOAT car there as well. So as much as the BBR cars, those KBueno blue and black sponsorship and decals around those cars, we're going to see a GOAT car. We're going to know a GOAT car when we see it.
They have the logos all over their cars this evening. That includes, of course, Donati there running in P2, Jacob Locklear, one of those GOAT Racing machines, Randall Payne, Justin Rott. And among those drivers, Locklear and Rott had been the only several drivers in that GOAT group that have made previous 4-wide starts. We had seen Justin Rott the tail end of season number 7. We've seen Locklear at a good amount of times throughout the last season or so. So keep an eye out for GOAT Incorporated, brand new team. And from what we have seen over the course of 4-wide history, new is always dominant. Whether it was Stonks back in Season 3, whether it was rookie Brandon Hawken, whether it was rookie Colin Forrester, and the list continues. If you're a rookie or if you're a new face in a new team, you may end up with newfound success. As on the outside comes drivers that are now entering their several other seasons. Steven Maggio entering his second full-time 4-wide effort in season number 8. And right behind him, Gabriel Dahari, who made his first several starts in Season 7, won the Iowa race. They're trying to push forward on the outside, up to now 4th.
a lot of buddies who are hooked up top right there. You see Dark Horse Racing's Trevor Haley, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, all in a row right there. Ethan Fonseca Moreno in the 92 and Jaden Porter in the 28 on the bottom. As there we see Nick Donathy hop up in front of Steven Maggio. Maggio's going to be kind of forced to push him here unless he wants to take it 3 wide. He's going to get a shot from Dahari. And they got to be careful here. They can't afford to accordion up and cause a huge stack up, because if you cause that huge checkup behind you, that is where the wrecks start. When you're up here, you're typically okay, but you don't want to be the cause of the caution. So it's all a chess match, and you have to be really careful with where you put your bump, your nose on the guy in front of you's bumper, because if you hit it too hard and slow yourself down, it'll slow the person behind you down even more. So that is how a lot of the wrecks start here at Daytona, by just simple checkups like that. But we're going to see Dahari and Maggio work together very well tonight. We saw it at Talladega last season, those two leading the pack along with Ethan Fonseca Moreno for a majority of that race. Those guys are going to be working well together as we ride along with Dahari down the backstretch, probably by photography onboard camera.
A good look at how these chef moves play out at over 185 miles an hour entering turn 3. Great look at how Dahari is trying to push Maggio to the front. But for right now, no dice between those two cars, Toyota and Chevrolet. They've got Trevor Haley and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer 3rd and 4th on that outside charge, but still everyone chasing down Michael Walls, whose help from AJ Green has leveled him off at the front by at least 2 to 3 car lengths. And again, we're going to see this a lot, Charlie. Switch of lanes, of course, different momentum at different levels of time. But what we have seen in previous races with this next-gen car is that if you get organized really well on either the bottom or the top, you can extend out your reach and advantage by at least 3, 4, sometimes as much as 5 or 6 car lengths at most, and it forces the other lane to work so much harder to make a pass. Now it seems like the momentum switches, the wave goes up high. Maggio takes the lead for the first time at lap 8.
Yeah, it's definitely a strength in numbers thing when it comes to super speedways here, and we see a lot of cars, almost more so than the bottom line, are lined up on the top line. That allowed Steven Maggio and Gabriel Dahari. I have to say, I had to look up who that number 72 was, because Gabriel Dahari typically runs in that yellow and black signature paint schemes that he does, so it'll be something to get used to there. But yeah, when Steven Maggio took the lead, the outside line was able to form up a few more cars and able to extend out almost 4 car lengths ahead of the bottom line.
Some great pushing, though, from those up top. Now Maggio and Dahari decide to switch to the inside. They join Jurgensmeyer on their route there. Inside goes Tyler Murray, league owner, that black and neon yellow TJ's team Ford Mustang. And now Trevor Haley, the pick that Tyler Murray made from the 1000 Allens Correct pre-race show, now stepping into the foreground with Tristan Bailey and Alan Alashire in there to help alongside Nick Donathy, who took the lead for the first several laps of this race.
We're going to see if Trevor Haley can get that line moving. A super speedway driver and an ace kind of, Kenneth. Remember the regular season finale last season that we look back to Daytona at? He had a very strong race car, dominant, led the most laps for a good majority of that race, and kind of got involved in a late wreck as we see a stack up structure in the bottom. Looks like Steven Maggio has got it figured out. Had an issue there in 1 and 2, but look at how much this top line has started to become more desolate, Kenneth. We saw a lot of guys up there kind of making this 2x2, but right now that's not the case, as we're going to see Steven Maggio pull out a line here, suffering those internet issues, and that is going to turn the race lead over to Gabriel Dahari in the 72.
Hey, you've seen that car blinking in and out of the race session for the last lap and a half. I believe race control has told Steven Maggio, hey, let off, get back to the field, and get back in line, just stay out of trouble here, because we do know that any internet connectivity issues, especially at the front of the field, could send you spinning, and then by the time that the drivers see the race car, they're either basically morphing into the other race car, or they just see it spinning and they have no idea where it is until it pops up on their screen. So it's really just a courtesy thing for drivers who have internet problems to get at the back of the field, play it safe, and not create any trouble, especially here. Only 11 laps into this 100-lap race. Still a really long way to go. So for Steven Maggio, some short-lived success at the front. He'll lay off and be at the back end of this front group. In the race lead now, Gabriel Dahari takes over first. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer right behind. Tyler Murray trying to run in third, but instead looking for the race lead. And as we cross the line through the first segment of tonight's race, Keelan, what are your keys to victory here from Daytona?
Well, I think the first key we're going to have to look at tonight is going to be strategy and your strength in numbers. As it's going to be all about working with your teammates. And I like to think back to that Talladega race last season where KBueno Racing got really organized, pit very well, and came out on top of that race. That'll be something that we're going to see tonight. Teammates looking to pit together and stay up there. And patience is going to be a virtue tonight. You don't want to be too over-aggressive, because if you go and take the lead early, odds are you won't be there in 10 laps from now. So you have to be patient and make your moves at the right time. Play the track position game. And for a guy like Francisco Bacaya, who's already out of line, he's in a bit of trouble, guys, because that track position is already gone. He needs to stay on the lead lap until that first caution is to fly, as we see him in a pack back here with Michael Dubraw and Jacob Locklear in the 84. But avoid the stress of the regular season. Book your playoff ticket now. Get that race victory tonight like Steven Stempien did last year, and you have no worries for the rest of the regular season, and that's my keys to the race.
Really good keys and good point, of course. Getting to victory lane first will have you be the first driver locked into the playoffs. And to that point for Francisco, it looks like he does have help, which is really good news. If you're a solo car at these super speedways, you may as well just be drowning in the water, because there is no way you can pick up as much speed as the first pack is giving with that many cars in a line. So at least having Michael Dubraw and Jacob Locklear to help give him some draft, help him save a bit of fuel here in this early run, as we've had no yellows through lap number 14, could give him the upper edge. So there's the hurry up at the front. We saw Tyler Murray get a good shot from the outside lane, just about led what was his 87th career lap at the virtual Daytona International Speedway, and everyone really trying to follow the record that Kyle Benson has at this track with 108 laps led. We know how good these Murray Motorsports Ford Mustangs are whenever they take a super speedway track. Daytona is really no exception. One big missing piece, though, of this group, Charlie, is Austin Reedy. Of course, did not make the dual races last Wednesday, so signed up for a waiver in the weeks leading up to this TJ's Team 250, and unfortunately, he is not in this field tonight. But that strong Murray Reedy Motorsports group, we know when Murray, Bailey, Kyle Benson, and the lot get together, it gets very dangerous. So far, they've been separated, and so far, Murray cannot make any pace on the outside for the moment for the lead.
Yeah, I think it's only going to be a matter of time before you see those Ford Mustangs pop up. And they're also easy to recognize. They do run the front row motorsports drivers, are the number fonts that they do in real life. So they're easy to find, and they're all Ford Mustangs. So it's only going to be a matter of time before you see those cars hook up with each other. And they're going to be a force to the end of this race. And really a mixed bag of drivers throughout this field. Nobody's really found their teammates yet. We got a bunch of cars pitting.
Well, here we go. Lap number 15, early drivers on pit road, and a lot of them from that BBR
Gabriel
staple.
Dahari's around.
And Gabriel Dahari may have found some troubles. They're coming on a pit road. This is a very early decision, Keelan Belsha, and big trouble for Dahari.
And you see a bit of damage on that nose. We'll get a replay to see what happened to him, but a lot of guys came in for service here. A lot of the Dark Horse, the GOAT guys, all of them. As we see what happens to Dahari, he just tries to slow up so he avoids the speeding penalty. And the damage from the nose is going to come from Randall Payne right there in a 46, tagging him. So you see the strategy call, and it's bad for Dahari, but everybody else should escape with a decent strategy call here. This also is going to help Steven Maggio. They're going to pick him up after dropping him off way back there. The only one who's not really going to benefit from this in that stable is Francisco Bacallao. He has a lot of trouble for him, but we saw this last year at Talladega, Kenneth. They really called off-the-wall strategies to fill up the car in the least amount of time, end your time on pit road as quickly as possible. And that is what they're doing. They're trying to spend as little time on pit road as possible and as much time hooked up single file as they can. If this race plays out green, I know they have a smart strategy right there with those BBR guys. I was firsthand experiencing it last season. So this pack now kind of split in two, as we saw a handful of about 10, 15 guys pit right there. That's going to turn the lead over to Tyler Murray.
Well, Keelan, when you mentioned that strategy call that you and those KBueno Racing drivers made to get to the front at Talladega late in that race, how was it to see that level of camaraderie, and what specific details go into making that single file train fast, and if not, in cases faster than what we're seeing from this main group here in the lead?
It's a lot to do with the first 2 or 3 cars up there. If the first 2 guys can stay on each other as much as they can, and that guy third in line stays as close to that guy in second, and you just stay as close to each other all the way through that little line of cars, that's how you're going to get the fast lap times. And you don't think of Daytona Talladega as a track where you're targeting lap time, but I remember being in that call last year, and we were continuously trying to be a couple tenths to a half second faster than that other pack, because that would give us a huge gap. And it did. It spit us out by the end of all the pit stops. We had like 8 seconds on the pack. So it's all about staying on top of each other, being able to push and shove, and you have to be a guy who can take a push if you're going to lead, and if you're going to be the guy second in line, you've got to be somebody that can push. But everybody in that line is going to have a role, and everybody's kind of learning their roles as this little bit develops in that single file line. They're all going to have to learn their roles and are going to have to target lap time. As you see how unorganized this pack is up here right now, they're just now starting to get single file with a couple teammates out front in Benson and Bailey, but they have to be organized. They have to be targeting lap time too, because these guys are going to learn from those mistakes last year that they got beat on at Talladega. But they're all going to have to work together here, and that is the beauty of super speedway racing, in my opinion, Kenneth. Everybody has a role and everybody has to work together.
And not only is it the BBR drivers that are doing this strategy, I see a lot of GOAT Incorporated drivers in this group as well. They pitted with the BBR crew, so a lot of people, almost 10 plus, are in this single file line together, all working on the same strategy. As you mentioned, Keelan, how close this entire pack has to be in order to really make this strategy viable and for it to pay off later in the race.
And this is the leading car. Ethan Fonseca Moreno with Justin Rott right behind him. They're about 23rd on back in this field.
I remember Ethan. He was the leader last year, too. And Justin Rott, he's a great pusher. We've seen his skills in the trucks the last couple weeks. We didn't get to see much of it in 4-wide last year. But look at this. This is something as you're going to see that, though. They are going to be all on top of each other, just running each other nose to tail. And that is how you're going to keep the speed up as you go around the racetrack. And everybody has a role. They have to stay all on top of each other. This is Steven Maggio, fifth back in line, but look at how close he's going to have to stay up to Jaden Porter in that 28 to make sure that line is moving. As little air is in between those cars as possible. As everybody's role to close that gap as much as they can.
All in the effort to stay in line with a beautiful look on board with the Season 7 Championship 5 driver and Steven Maggio running in 27. So again, those drivers all single file on this strategy, while the rest of the main group has also singled out. There was a high side charge momentarily with league owner Tyler Murray and rookie driver Logan Gill driving the number 22 car for Season 8. But so far, nothing else has really materialized at the front. And Kyle Benson, who ended up leading his 109th career lap lead here at Daytona, just continues to go over the 110 lap lead plus mark here from the World Center of Racing, a place where he has won before. His last career victory in 4-wide came back here in season number 6. So everyone runs single file, and more often than not, Charlie, at these super speedway races, particularly Daytona, on 75% fuel, you can go 30 to 35 laps on a tank. So for all of these drivers, now that they're singling out and separating a lot more, what seems to be the call here and what seems to be the mindset driver-wise as they come around looking to capture their first pit stop and make it a good one?
I think about 3 stops is going to be the call to get you to the end of this race. And I think the BBR drivers, or at least the BBR / GOAT Incorporated drivers, just barely reached that window to get 3 pit stops in, and that's when they dove in. But I think we're going to see a lot of teamwork throughout the field. You can bet that the people either running the same manufacturers or under the same team banners are also going to be going down together. So like Keelan said, the beauty of super speedway racing is how these races develop in terms of the teammates you have and the groups that you follow, because it only takes a correct choice of a group. And AJ Green, a big move to the inside. But as I was saying, it only takes a correct decision to put you in a great spot to win this race.
And that was nearly a disastrous move there from AJ Green. Pointed the nose down low on Tristan Bailey and nearly took him out of the entry of turn 3. But Green ends up spoiling that Murray Motorsports party, building up first and second on the inside lane. And the 2-time winner here from the World Center of Racing trying to go for a trifecta and trying to search for a second career 4-wide championship, something that to this day has never been done. Green runs right now second. Curtis Kelly, the pole sitter, runs in third. Michael Walls runs in fourth. Tristan Bailey fifth. And there is one car, actually 2, in the middle of this group. There's a Coca-Cola machine and then an Air Force machine. Those are 2 cars that are now just put a lap down or more. They pitted about 7 or so laps ago. That is Juan Escamilla, part of that Dark Horse Racing camp, and his brand new number 87 for 2025. And Zachary Cato, the number 23 car, qualified nicely into this race tonight and runs in 35th place also a lap down. The other two that were kind of put behind on the strategy, Gabriel Zahari, who spun entering pit road at around lap 15, and Randall Payne, that 46 car, a part of that GOAT Incorporated team. He runs last in 37th as we continue to run green here from Daytona. So a lot of interesting storylines building up, but from what I'm seeing here, Keelan Belsha, not a lot of team action. Of course, Murray Reedy Motorsports has separated. Overcorrect Racing has a couple of drivers in close range, but it's a who's who inside of this front 20.
And Farley said it earlier, it's a mixed bag that we have up here with a lot of drivers in a lot of different places. Nobody up here besides those guys who have already hit pit road have been able to find their teammates and run with them. We saw Murray and Benson kind of in close proximity, but they couldn't get hooked up, and that has allowed Benson to pull out there in the position he's in as this race continues to develop. But we see Adam Alashire in a Coors Banquet number 10 car, a little bit deeper. That's a Formula wheel, Kenneth, in a stock car. I know a lot of people like to do that. Bobby Zielinski, isn't he one who really likes to do that? So it's amazing all the preferences you can have here on iRacing. You can prefer whatever you want, and pretty much every combo is going to work.
Really crazy combo here. Direct drive setup and then a Formula rim to run an oval race at Daytona, which, you know, for a lot of what it's worth on stock car racing, does not require that much wheel input, does not require a lot of fidgeting around the race car to make it perform at its peak. You really got to be locked in on finding drafts, finding momentum, but really cool setup here for Adam Alashire. I believe that's the first time that we've ever had a camera for the driver of now the 10 machine, used to be the 91, and former winner here at Daytona captured the flag here at this World Center of Racing back in season number 6 with the Xfinity Series car. So with a brand new look, the Sunbury, Ohio native is trying to look good here, running 8th inside of this top 10. And it really has become a way, Charlie Beyer, of waiting for the clock to strike midnight. And the clock striking midnight is when they have to come down pit road, which we should see in about 8 or so laps. That fuel window come to a close. The window opens in about 2.5 laps as they come across to the start-finish line. So it appears a lack of aggression, if you will. I think everyone's seeing the writing on the wall for how green this race has gone so far.
Yeah, it's not going to be too long until we see drivers come down to the pit road. It's really, as you said, the time is ticking, and people are just kind of waiting for their fuel sources to deplete, and they come down pit road for a splash of fuel and a full tank. And for these drivers who aren't in a camp with a lot of teams, you can also expect them to kind of work within each other and work in temporary, if you will, partnerships for this race to come down at the same time and be on that same strategy, because as you mentioned, this race is all about strength and numbers, and having more people on your side running nose to tail is going to benefit you no matter what. So it's all about who can get in and out smoothly and who can keep their position.
And this is the look again at that secondary strategy from those who pitted early with Ethan Fonseca Moreno, Justin Rott, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, Season 5 champion Jaden Porter, Season 7 rookie of the 51 of Steven Maggio. They are waiting for the field up front to come in, and I believe the call has happened now. Here comes Kyle Benson and the rest of the drivers. A spinner back there. Christopher Bishop goes for a whirl, entering the pit lane, but all these drivers in for mostly wholesale service at lap 29.
It's going to be interesting to see where they shake out in comparison to all those BBR cars. Kyle Benson may be the one leading him off here. Christopher Bishop, the only one I saw in real trouble. That is going to be unfortunate news for him, but here comes those BBR cars just running a train around those guys who just came out of pit road. So that's all the time that single file line had made up in that entire run to get back past the trouble, and around goes
Chris Fowler. Spinning to the inside, avoids the inside barrier. This was as the DBR group was coming down pit road. All of the smoke coming from the front ends of their cars. Jason Hastings is going to miss the pit stall. And for Chris Fowler and his number 11 Toyota, made several starts at the tail end of Season 7, goes for a spin in almost similar fashion to how Gabriel Zahari did to put him a lap down in this race. Here's a look at how it all happened. And funny enough, it was off the nose of Gabriel Zahari running third in that lane. Spin to the inside. Fowler saves it and keeps it off of the inside wall. Fantastic job for Fowler to avoid damage, but big time loss here as he will be that driver lonesome on pit road. Lawson Peel, the first man out of DBR's group, and Moreno alongside BBR to the lead.
Yeah, and that's that strategy coming into play here. They ran a train around the drivers coming out of the pits, and that's just how big of a gap, even just 10 or so laps, nose to tail like these drivers are doing, can build over the rest of the field. And one thing I also want to know that plays into this strategy per se is you see Ethan Fonseca Moreno running half a lane up in the corner, because as close as these drivers are all the way down the front straightaway, as Justin Rott puts his nose to that bumper of the number 92 all the way to turn number 1, the number 92 of Ethan is going to lift his car up at least half a lane to get that air, that clean air, up into the nose of Justin Rott. That way he can kind of replenish his air supply and bring those temps down in order to give him another big push down the straightaways.
And Keelan, when you're running in a line like this, if you're in that perspective of Rott, Jurgensmeyer, anybody in this front leading group that is now on this alternate strategy, what are you really seeing? Because it feels like you can't really see much with that tall rear splitter, and with how much this banking goes across Daytona, it can be really hard visibility-wise to look out in front of your machine.
You really don't have many visual cues, Kenneth. If you're Justin Rott right here, and if we can go on board with him, you can kind of see it, but you don't see much when you're pushing him down a straightaway. You're just relying on the visual cues you can see kind of at the left side of the windshield. I mean, look at this. You're not seeing very much. You just have to rely on your visual cues all the way around to kind of know when to turn in. But when these guys run so many laps at doing this and know what they're doing, a lot of guys get it figured out. But I'm really excited to see how this strategy is going to shake out for him. If it'll be any similar to that race we saw in the spring earlier this year, or how it will shake out. But if I know anybody who's leading this charge, it's probably Steven Maggio, using his math brain back there. He's working on calculating. I mean, he looked into this before they got started tonight, that's for sure. I remember at Talladega, he was telling us the exact laps to pit if the thing goes green to make it in the least amount of stops and the least amount of time on pit road. It's a lot of studying that these guys do to make sure that their strategy is successful, and as it stands right now, it is. But one of these stops is going to be one where they're going to have to bite the bullet and take a long pit stop on fuel. That way they can set themselves up for the end of the race. But right now, it's certainly working out pretty well for them.
But still is a formidable combo punch to get this front of this field. And for right now, KBueno Racing alongside Justin Rott, a part of that GOAT Incorporated team, and even a bit of that Dark Horse Racing group, two of them in their sophomore seasons this year, will take control 33 laps deep of this Daytona race. Just an update for some of those having trouble on pit road. Of course, you saw that Chris Fowler spin as they were coming off the final corner. But for other drivers, it appeared they were too fast entering. That includes Craig Parks, Eric Schaefer, and Michael Newbraw, who spent just over 50-ish seconds on pit lane. They were too fast entering, so they will now fall a lap down or more. And Lawson Peel, who came out basically by himself on a 12.9-second stop, he did not end up with a penalty, but he was the only car in his group to survive the mayhem. So car number 12 is going to be back in 33rd place, a driver who found bad luck at the end of both Duel 1 and Duel 2, getting spun around at the white flag lap of the first duel, and then getting spun around by Tristan Bailey right about here off of turn 4 in that first sector of the second duel last Wednesday. So at the moment, it becomes undercut versus overcut. If you want to look for the other drivers that are behind this group trying to make up pace, it's a group led by Kyle Benson running 9th, Tristan Bailey, Tyler Murray, fellow Murray Reedy Motorsports teammates, running 10th and 11th. And I think, Charlie, they're kind of understanding that, hey, you see BBR in that group hit around lap 15. You're saying that's way too early for them to come down in any normal situation. They anticipate a Talladega-esque strategy coming up here at Daytona. How do you try to respond to that?
I think they are trying to respond to it right now. This is the response out of that Murray Reedy Motorsports group, running nose to tail, not making moves that'll put them side by side and slow down that whole pack. This is exactly what they need to do to try to cover this strategy. The gap is already a lot. It's almost half a straightaway, as you know, the BBR drivers are just crossing the start-finish line as these Murray Reedy Motorsports drivers round turns number 3 and 4. So that gap is already there. It's just about making up that time, trying to do the exact same strategy to keep as much time as possible from them.
And again, really hard to do when you have a hodgepodge of drivers who, you know, some of them are teammates, some of them know each other very well, but others are just trying to figure things out. And you see the rest of Overcorrect Racing, how they are settled 1, 2, 3 right behind Tyler Murray with AJ Green, Curtis Kelly, and Adam Alishire. And then you kind of sprinkle in two other names that are not really affiliated by any means. Brandon Banks in the 5 cars running back here, although he is sitting further back in this group in 15th place. And then right behind them is where you find Nick Donati, the 93 machine rookie driver, who currently runs in position number 8. So it's really a matter of a ton of drivers. I believe that's Daniel Moore actually in the back of this group as I see it. Up in front is Nick Donati running 8th. But it's just a real big hodgepodge of drivers right around lap 37. And as we cross the line, everybody at the front, 21 laps into their stint, and they're starting to find some companionship. There's Michael Newbraw all the way at the back. I believe that's Christopher Bishop. There's Eric Schaefer, Jacob Locklear, Kevin D'Elia, and then the spinner of Chris Fowler all the way back in this group, making it even more lengthy.
Yeah, the more lap cars that they catch up to is more that's going to tag along at the end of this group right here, and that is what's happening. Is looks like a goat car in trouble there, maybe on the back stretch. But as they come down the front stretch here, watch this top 3 start to pull away. Jaden Porter giving Stephen Maggio a little air. But look at the charge that these DBR cars are mounting on the outside, trying to break this up. And what this is going to do, you see all those DBR cars ripping a top, trying to get their lap back. That is going to slow down this entire group. That is what has allowed the top 3 to pull away, because look, Peel's going to get side by side with Porter. That's going to hold this whole group up and allow that Murray Reedy Motorsports train to slowly close in. They're still 14 seconds back, but if DBR can keep this train fighting on the top, that'll close up this pack and raise the likelihood for a caution to get everybody back in this race.
It's a tale of two cities at the front of this field, with those at the front just trying to maintain their pace and then come down pit road soon. And then you look at what Lawson Peel, Eric Schaefer, and the lot are doing, trying to fight for their lap back, but also anticipating that if a yellow flag does come out, they want to be that first car a lap down, because they will get that wave around. That's the lucky dog candidacy that these drivers, all of DBR, are trying to fight for. Only a limited amount of spots will be held, and understanding if they can at least get to the front of this field, they could keep themselves unlapped for the moment. And as Peel darts back down, just aiming to find the right lane at the right time. It's been so difficult to make that feat accomplished. Here's a look on board with our fellow driver analyst and good friend Francisco Bacallao. Runs on the top side here. Almost a bit of swiveling right behind as Michael Newbraw gets out of line. He'll get turned right into Jacob Locklear up the track. And will that be a caution flag for the first time tonight?
No cars are spinning around right now, so the caution flag will not come out. Not the break that people like Francisco Bacallao or Lawson Peel wanted. They wanted that yellow flag to come out because those two are fighting for their laps back. That number 84 is going to park it to the inside, and Jacob Locklear, that'll close the book on his Daytona 250. So that was a close one and almost a break for these guys.
That was huge, though, and a horrible situation for Locklear, of course, in his first race this season with that brand new GOAT Incorporated team, and all of a sudden out of whack as they were coming to the Tri-Oval alongside Michael Newbraw. And again, the last thing you really want to have happen to you is a situation like the Harries, and now a situation like Locklear. You get turned around, you're saying to yourself, please let there be a yellow flag, but there is no yellow. It's under the racing line and no spinning cars. So that instance alone will not drop the yellow tonight, and we will stay green through 41 consecutive green flag laps as we await the front group and what they will do strategy-wise. Remember, still 5 laps to go until that fuel window opens at about lap 30, and even then they could expand a little further than that, 35, maybe a bit over 37 laps you can go on this tank of fuel, all in the effort to stay ahead with this strategy that they have employed. And one thing we have kind of dived into a little bit, Keelan, but something that we haven't gone fully fledged into is engine temperature and air temperature inside the race car. Remember last year in one of the dual races, Steven Stepien was riding in line. All of a sudden, engine went poof, and he was out of the race. Nothing he could do to fix that race car. Could very well happen in this strategy. How do these guys, knowing how hard they're pushing each other, be able to get a part of that clean air and keep their engines cool when they're so closely tucked in together?
Well, Charlie touched on this a little bit earlier, and I thought he did a good job explaining that. Watch Ethan Fonseca Moreno leading this pack right here, and look how he just comes up about a half lane, letting that clean air get into the engine of the 07. And everybody behind him, they don't want to push the pusher like crazy, so they're naturally going to get a little bit of air in between them, and that's going to allow them to cool their motors down just enough. The only one who is not really stepping on any ice at all and doesn't have to worry about anything is Ethan Fonseca Moreno, because look at all the clean air he's going to get. Justin Rott in the 07, he would be in the biggest threat of blowing up, but Ethan Fonseca Moreno is such a good leader at these super speedways in a single file line like this. He's going to get up there, give about a half lane, and that's going to allow enough for Rott to cool his motor down and then give him a shove down the backstretch as the caution comes out for the first time in this Daytona 250. Zachary Cato in a 23 in trouble over there to bring out the caution flag for the first time here on lap 43.
And it's 3 cars involved. There's Logan Gill damaged on the right front. Heavy contact. Timothy Cook also getting a piece of this. He's now just getting his Toyota Camry up to speed. Randall Payne almost getting into him. There are the leaders, by the way, as they're crossing the tri-oval. Some trouble for the rookie drivers of Gill and Cato in their first ever 4-wide starts here at Daytona. So this is how it all unfolded, and a pretty sizable accident as well here, Keelan. You look at what happens in this group up front. Cato, I believe, yes, gets turned by Timothy Cook. Craig Parks is in the midst, Jason Hastings, and then spinning right behind is Brian Dixon, and a hard hit for Logan Gill and a secondary shot to the front end of the 19 machine of Timothy Cook. It's a hard impact and obviously not what you want to have happen in your first ever 4-wide race. Here's a look on board with Gill.
And you see way up there, Cato is just giving a bit of a line, and that's where he gets hit on the corner. And you see Gill trying to slow down for this. That rough transition from the race surface in the middle of the corner down to the apron is what's going to knock his car loose. And he tries to save it, keep it off the fence, but just pounds into that wall. That's going to be some damage on that car. Wouldn't be surprised if the toe link was knocked out. But this is going to group everybody up. I would assume everybody comes down pit road here with about a little over 55 to go. If you pit here, just one more green flag stop if this thing goes green. So I would assume everybody comes in for service here, at least a good majority. Ethan Fonseca Moreno is going to lead them down.
The skies have opened up for sunlight here at Daytona Beach, Florida. The pit road is open for service from the front-running group. Here comes Moreno, Rott, and the rest of this group down pit lane. Good news about this yellow. It has brought in the likes of Kyle Benson and Tristan Bailey, Tyler Murray, that entire Murray Motorsports camp that were falling behind from the main group on the big undercut strategy. Now it's a chance for them to fully reset and get back into a zone. Here's the fight off pit lane. A lot of quick stops, some of them for fuel only, and it's Trevor Haley that's going to try and ascend up to the front. Kyle Benson will have a good word at that as they fight off pit road. Kyle Benson, the Williamsport, Pennsylvania native, steals the lead off of pit lane.
And he wants to continue. That's going to help contribute to his leading lap count record at this racetrack. Kyle Benson getting to the front of the field. And you're right, Kenneth, the skies have opened up, and I think with a full tank of fuel, we should maybe have 1, possibly 2 pit stops towards the end of this race. It's going to be close if we do go green all the way.
And we saw those BBR guys come in for service first. Do you remember that, guys? And they pit about 20 laps before Kyle Benson did. And I think that's where it just bit them right there. They probably wanted a caution because that's going to shake out a little bit better. But Kyle Benson, he didn't have to spend near as much time in his stall waiting on fuel as these guys behind him did. And that is going to allow him to get back up front, take the track position away from those BBR guys. And that is where the deficit comes in, and what those BPR guys were trying to do, short stops on the first stop and the third stop and a long stop on the second stop, and the second stop going to come under caution here. But I'd be curious to see what their strategy is. You think they're going to show us their hand, Kenneth?
I don't know. I don't think they will, but we're going to try and pry ourselves in there as well. Here's Ethan Fonseca Moreno running in third right now, former leader of this race. Ethan, you've had a good look at the front of this field. It appears that this is Talladega all over again with this huge undercut strategy. How has it looked like for you and your teammates up at the front and with the strategy call entering this first yellow?
We executed that pretty well, I think. So we're going to look to try to do it again, but the way it looks like right now, I think if we go green again, we're going to be all pitting at the same time. So I don't know, just kind of banking on a caution here. Maybe just try to separate ourselves from these guys. Try to do it again, but we'll see.
Seems like this is kind of a game of poker, right? You guys have the upper edge right now, pocket aces, but if the rest of the field starts picking up on this strategy, how do you guys try and respond, find something else in the bag to pull out strategy-wise if this race stays green and get a chance at the win?
Well, the thing is, I think we execute this better than everybody else does. So everybody's going to try to jump onto our strategy, and you know, the way it looked like the last pit stop, everybody back there got separated. So I'm pretty confident in our own strategy that we will be able to execute it better than everybody else.
Well, it's looking good right now. Ethan, car looks good as well. Thank you for joining us, and best of luck on the restart.
Thank you.
Ethan Fonseca Moreno, in his 2 career starts at Daytona last season, picked up a top 10 in the opening race after the chaos, and then a second-place effort right behind the winning car of Scott Healy. So Ethan knows a thing or two on this next-gen car about getting to the front at the World Center of Racing. He'll be on the inside of the second row when we wave the green flag for our first restart of the race near halfway. So it's going to be Trevor Haley and Kyle Benson at the front of this field, both of them with 2 different ends of their pit stop. Kyle Benson only spent 7.4 seconds down there at a fuel-only call. Trevor Haley spent 12.6 seconds down the pit lane. Nicholas Baumann, 12.5 as well. The first driver with over 14 seconds on a stop is that car in the 92 that we just talked to of Ethan Fonseca Moreno. Jaden Porter and a couple of others join that group in the midst of this top 10. So Barney the Flagman will have the green flag ready to unfurl for just the second time tonight from Daytona in this TJ's Team 250 through the Geico restart zone. Benson up and away, green flag.
I'm going to be curious here, Kenneth, to see how much help that these Dark Horse Racing and KBueno Racing guys are going to offer to Kyle Benson as there goes around. Around goes a BBR car right there to stack up and cause a caution right off the restart here, Kenneth.
And it's Jaden Porter. There's Randall Payne and others that get a piece of it late. And the Louisville, Kentucky native fares the brunt of a crash right after the green flag restart. A heavily torn up KBueno Racing Chevrolet. And it was just one off-slanted car right behind that gave him the push. And that was all she wrote. Yellow out for the second time tonight from Daytona.
Yeah, I think the drivers were just trying to get going here. This top line, trying to get rolling as fast as possible. And when you get 4 cars stacked up like that, it's really hard to keep them all in a straight line without somebody lifting. And unfortunately, the 28 was the byproduct of that scenario. It takes out the number 46 as well as the number 60 as well. So a 3-car incident to open up the first restart of the race.
The 07 machine of Justin Rott also getting a piece of it. But Keelan, I think there might have been connection issues there with Jaden as he was phasing into the back end of Nicholas Baumann's car. And even here, when he's spinning right in front of Justin Rott, nowhere that the 07 car could go. But really just a matter of him in and out at the wrong place at the wrong time in the middle of a heavily contested field. And all of a sudden, Porter has a dashed race car, and his race from Daytona may be toast as he tries to limp it back to pit road.
Yeah, Jurgensmeyer right behind him obviously was not trying to turn him. It's just the connectivity issues. As there goes that 28th motor right there, and that will be the end of his season opener. So not the way Jaden Porter wanted this thing to go, as that thing is going to blow up as he goes around here. And unfortunate start to his season, Kenneth. Made it to the championship 5 last year. Didn't put together a great race after getting involved in an incident, but it's not a great start to his season tonight as well. We'll be looking forward to seeing him next week at Richmond, which is going to be a crazy second race of the season.
Yeah, really tough break there for Porter, but his teammates are coming in this time, Charlie, a lap 48. Right after the yellow flag, they immediately come down. That's Baumann, Jurgensmeyer, Moreno, Maggio, and the list continues.
That's nearly half the field. It's questionable whether or not they're trying to solidify making it to the end of the race on the field, making it to the end of the race on at least one more stop. But wow, guys, that's a strong majority of the field that's coming in, and only a handful of cars that stayed out.
So in a really interesting call here, a lot of them topping off on fuel. Trevor Haley, most notably, not a part of that group to come in. And so we'll see where this goes. How many more laps can they enter here as they try to run through halfway here from Daytona? Let's get a word with the current race leader. Kyle, I don't think you were oozing confidence in our voice chat right before we started the pre-race show tonight for coverage, but right now it's looking really good. This pickle car is fast. You've had some laps up at the front, and right now you've got control. What has this race been like for you, and what have you experienced so far and learned?
Yeah, I mean, this definitely something. I didn't expect this to be up front this quick, and we're just kind of rolling around here. Not really trying to do too much up here. Just going to try to log some laps and wait till this next pit stop to roll around and see what happens after that.
So on that green flag stint, you guys saw KBueno Racing come in early, and you guys tried your hand at it on an overcut strategy right after with your teammates. What seemed to be the communications with you and your guys in the VC for Murray Reedy Motorsports and how you guys were trying to plan that fuel strategy part right up until that first yellow?
Oh yeah, I mean, they wanted to do the short stint first, and I knew we were losing way too much time, so we had to pit as quick as we could. We were trying to find a lap for everybody to be able to make it as far as they can, and trying to make it there at the end of that fuel run, but they were pretty far out, probably about like 12, 13 seconds. So if we needed a lot of stuff to happen to get close to them, and now since that caution came out, it's kind of flipped, it's on its head, and we're going to see, hopefully we stay up front. Maybe this would go green and see what happens with that.
Kyle, we've seen this scheme on tap with you before from last season of this 4-wide series. Is there some kind of affinity you have with this pickle car? Because, I mean, it looks good. It's a cool car, and it's looking good up front right now.
Oh, yeah, the old picker car is fast. We were chilling at the duels, and I tore the car up pretty bad, so I had to pull it the back up, and I did some little cheating and stuff. So we got the old picker car out, but looking pretty good up front. Hopefully we can stay up there.
Don't Michael Waltrip it and accidentally put pickle juice in the race car to try to make it go faster. Kyle,
hush.
We appreciate the time, Kyle. Best of luck in the restart from the front row.
Yep, thank you.
So Kyle Benson joins from the lead. Trevor Haley in his Chevrolet up top. Tristan Bailey, that's going to be perfect here for Murray Reedy Motorsports, having support down the inside. Adam Alashire on the top of the second row with Curtis Kelly, the pole sitter tonight in his Krispy Kreme Toyota, and Tyler Murray, that number 36, on the outside of row number 3. Just to give you a perspective as to where the other cars are that came down pit road under the last wave of the yellow flag, there is Ethan on the back end of your screen on the right side. His KBRN Chevrolet runs just inside of the top 10 alongside Steven Maggio. So they didn't really lose all too much, knowing how many cars behind them came in. The only cars to really make big ground is really two only. AJ Green running 8th, and Craig Lownslugger, first time that we call the Texan native out in front inside this top group. So the Murray Reedy Motorsports driver will step into the top 10 for the first time this evening, as we are now about halfway here in this TJ's Team 250. Interesting weather as well from Daytona. Not a hot track temperature by any sense of the imagination. 77 degrees, and we saw the sun poke out for a couple of moments under our pit stops, but we have seen the cloud cover for most of it here in Daytona Beach, Florida. Wind to the north at about 8 to 9 miles an hour, so rather strong down these straightaways. And this cloud cover has allowed for maybe a bit more grip on the racetrack, but not as much sunlight, not as much glare, but still shining cars at the front. Kyle Benson will take the field to the restart zone for the second time. Green flag at halfway.
Everybody coming in for service here in that last yellow allowed those Murray Reedy Motorsports cars, the 38 and the 35, Bailey and Benson, to get lined up down there. Tyler Murray is also in that mix right there if he can get to him. Curtis Kelly going to slide into 30. See Craig Lautenslager in a 13. A lot of MRM cars going to be up here. 3 of the first 4, but that BBR train, it's not very far back. Kenneth Ethan Fonseca Moreno in 5th.
Waiting to move out of line, in which Trevor Haley has fallen back. He's getting picked up now by Alashire, Murray, and the entire group behind. But where does the move come from for those BBR cars, and do they make it soon? Moreno runs 5th on the inside lane. Benson in control by about 7 or more car lengths.
You got to believe there's a sense of urgency for those BBR cars to make it back to the front of this field, but so far the stars of the show upon this restart are those Murray Reedy Motorsports drivers, making up 3 of the top 4 positions on the bottom.
And Kyle Benson, winner of this race before, back in Season 6, trying to do it all over again and grab a playoff spot in Season 8 for the very first event. Right now, he's got control, and he's got help as well. No real threats from those cars behind other than those BBR Chevrolets and Fords that are running on the inside of the racetrack. And still, Trevor Haley cannot find a way to press forward with Adam Alashire right on his rear bumper. It has been push after push after push from the 10 to the 4, and still no headway. They're falling in the back half of the top 10.
And that has allowed the top 6 or 7 to get all single filed out here. And look at this, Trevor Haley continuing to shoot back. I don't believe there's any damage on either of those race cars. They just do not have the chemistry that we have seen on some of those guys running the top. And we talk about it, that chemistry is so important. And Alashire and Haley trying to feel each other out here, but right now they just can't get anything going. They have all the cars in line. They have all the necessary components. They just need to get working with each other. You see kind of an unsquare push right there from the 10 to the 4. So the 4 is not where the 10 wants to be, and the 10's not where he wants the 4 to be. So Those guys just going to continue to stack each other up, and that has allowed Tyler Murray to move to the top side of the racetrack, maybe join his MRM teammates up there in top 5.
They've got a new patron up at the top, and it's Tyler Murray. Push from Haley now will get him nearly up to 5th, alongside Moreno down to the 18-degree trial here at Daytona. What a push this will be down the banking, entering turn 1. And if Murray can get alongside his teammate in Benton, not only will it be a shot at the lead for the driver up at the front of this outside group, but also a chance for him to control both lanes alongside his teammate, Charlie. We've seen it often at these super speedways. If you can get your team drivers leading the inside and outside charge, maybe leading all 3 lines if it ends up being 3 abreast, you can really put your foot on the gas and really take control of the rhythm of the race, something that it's hard to take away unless somebody makes a daring move.
Well, yeah, if it's not you, you want it to be one of your teammates, right? So at the end of this race, probably the best scenario, if you don't have a teammate behind you, a teammate next to you, to really solidify one of you guys winning this race is going to be a viable strategy for these guys coming down to it. Looking at the cars at the top lane here, I'm seeing drivers who were formerly a lap down, who were able to get their wave around, and now they're on the lead lap once again, fighting for spots up towards the top 10. I see Francisco Bacallao, Lawson Peel, and a lot of these drivers who either had a little bit of trouble on pit road, got a speeding penalty, or maybe just lost control of the pack altogether. We're all able to get their laps back, and we're on board the Francisco's. He's now in the top 10.
Great news for him, now pushing that other 87 car that was a lap down as well in Juan Escamilla, and they're starting to catch up to their teammates. So not only is KBueno Racing in a place where they can hang on to top 10 position, they've got more teammates and more alliance drivers to give them assistance. And there's a good look at Francisco. First time we see his camera on in a driving setting. More often than not, he has his camera on and with us in the broadcast booth, and he will be for most of Season 8. But talking to us in the months leading up to this opener here from Daytona, said that if they were going to change the car, if it was going to be the Xfinity Series car, he was going to run full time, but if they went back to next gen, he would stick to a part-time schedule. So you will see Bacallao on track more times than tonight. We will see him take a couple of the other tracks on schedule, one of them being the trip up north to Canada and to Montreal's Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. So good to see Bacallao back on the lead lap. The Duel 2 winner trying to make headway all the way back on the outside groove, which is finally starting to crank in some life, Keelan Belsha. Here's Tyler Murray looking for the lead off turn 4.
He's going to have that help from Trevor Haley to kind of even up here and take that top spot away. And now you're going to see this right here. Murray Reedy Motorsports controlling both lines. But if I'm Trevor Haley, I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to push Tyler Murray out there, force him to get out of line. There he goes. He's going to drop down to the bottom. And now we have Murray Reedy Motorsports 1, 2, 3 on the bottom, but Alishire and Haley going to have to work together on the top side of that racetrack. You see Alishire blink out a little bit. AJ Green to the middle of the racetrack, and that may be a better scenario for Trevor Haley, as him and Adam Alishire didn't really have that chemistry. But AJ Green, he'll push anybody that moves, but not this time. He's dropping down to the bottom, and that's going to leave Juan Escamilla and Trevor Haley to get hooked up. Two guys who know each other very well.
And for Alishire, stuck on the outside with no help, and any lane with no help is a bad sign. He thankfully gets back in line. He'll be 5th on the top shelf. And here is AJ Green, and he's going to have help on the way. Curtis Kelly will try and give him the push. They're two separated before they get back to turn 1, and a big blunder potentially, because 4 Murray Reedy Motorsports Ford Mustangs will have command at the exit of turn 2.
I think these drivers are still trying to find their place in this pack as this run goes on. Drivers trying to slot down to the inside because that's where they want to be. Drivers to the outside because that's where they want to be, or have teammates up there. But it's starting to play out pretty well as those Murray Reedy Motorsports drivers are bumper to bumper. So are the cars on the top lane as they're crashing in the back.
And right behind, Timothy Cook goes for a spill in the middle of the group. Kevin D'Elia and others slam into the mix. Tony Kibbett, Brian Dixon, and our biggest crash ignites 58 laps deep from Daytona. And bad news for KBueno Racing, they have some of their group involved.
Yeah, I saw Steven Maggio at the tail end of that. It looked like the wreck kind of stayed in 3 and 4, but the wreck did not stop there. Steven Maggio, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, several guys got tore up there exiting turn number 4. There's going to be several different angles to look at this one from, as Kenneth, that first caution came, and it seems we just can't escape from him, as this all kind of started around Timothy Cook in the 19 car. He was in line with Kevin D'Elia tucked in behind him. We're going to watch it right here, 53-19. You see that bottom line stack up big time. Big run here for the guys on the outside, but watch this. They're going to have to check up a little bit. Adam Alishire checking up, Cook checking up, D'Elia goes to the middle, and he just slightly gets into Cook. That's where that wreck starts, and then another wreck happens with everybody trying to avoid it. Tony Kivett slides into that one, and it looked like Steven Maggio had a very similar incident to Zachary Cato, where he took that aggressive bump down to the apron and it spun his car around. Here's Jurgensmeyer. Michael Walls is in front of him. You see everybody checking up for it. Jurgensmeyer caught on that apron. He makes contact with Cody Spare, Nicholas Bauman. They were a couple guys that got into this. Bauman may have escaped with little damage, and Steven Maggio was the other one who I saw in trouble right there. He just made that transition down to the banking here. We'll get a look from Tony Kivett's on board here in the 76.
Going to get nasty in the middle of turn 3. And in the midst of the sparks, a sea of smoke. And right there is where Cook goes around. And Kivett is trying to slow down. Everyone is. They hit the apron. And much like Jurgensmeyer and Steven Maggio, just a case of trying to go down low to get out of the way, because they understand with how steep the banking here is at Daytona. It's 31 degrees total, so it almost is self-cleaning in a way. But with all of that action going down, you try to go to the apron, the car hits that transition, and it is big-time trouble from there. So Jurgensmeyer, Maggio, Tony Kivett, the spinning Timothy Cook, Kevin D'Elia involved. And it's a hefty laundry list of cars that end up with damage or some sort of problems there on that caution flag. And this will give opportunity for Kyle Benson and a couple of the other drivers in the front to come down pit road. It is going to be a grand total of everybody second on back, and Craig Launslager on 15-lap old tires and a 15-lap old gas tank will have himself a shot at the front, leading his first share of laps, Charlie, tonight.
I think the other Meridian Motorsports driver really fell back and during that pit cycle. It passed drivers like AJ Green and Ethan Fonseca Moreno as well. So a big shakeup during this pit cycle. We're going to see some new faces up front.
So there's Launslager at the front, Tyler Murray, rather, going to be back in P14. And it's a really, really good look for that 36 cars. Had a solid race tonight, and it's been really a fantastic effort for the league owner and a lot of the Meridian Motorsports camp as they continue to run single file under our most recent yellow flag here from Daytona International Speedway. And up at the front, it is the 13 machine, Craig Launslager, taking control. We'll take a short side-by-side break and be right back with more coverage of the Season 8 opener of the 4Wide Racing TJ's Team Series and the TJ's Team 250.
Let's go racing!
Welcome to the Thousand Islands Cruette in Clayton, New York. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come in for a tasting, and our helpful and knowledgeable staff will help you find the perfect olive oils or vinegars to add that perfect touch to your next meal. We have monthly specials and sales, as well as new pairings and recipes, so there's always something new to try when you visit. The Thousand Islands Cruette on James Street in Clayton. And don't forget, hey, no touchy the tankies.
Back live from the virtual Daytona International Speedway for coverage of the TJ's Team 250. Coverage of the 4Wide Racing TJ's Team Series is brought to you by iRacing. To get your sim racing career started today, visit iRacing.com. By TJ's Team. To learn more about how to wear more than a cape, visit morethan.a cape.org. And by Paul's Setup Shop. Well, back live from Daytona, it's been a rather interesting race. Kenneth Bueno alongside Keelan Belsha and Charlie Byer with you in the broadcast booth. It's been great so far. We have another new leader in Clemens, North Carolina's A.J. Green. His Charlotte 49ers Chevrolet will be the front-running man at the front of the field, with Trevor Haley on the outside of row 1. Ethan Fonseca Moreno and Curtis Kelly are on the inside and outside of the second row. Kyle Benson had pitted from the lead. Launslager stayed out. He also came down pit lane. Green flag out with just a little under 40 laps to go from the World Center of Racing. And this time a pretty even restart from both lanes. Great push from behind to AJ Green from Moreno. Haley looking for help from Kelly. He won't get it to turn 1.
Well, Kenneth, we started off this race and nobody was really organized, and then we got to the middle portion of the first half and everybody got really organized with our teammates. And now we kind of got that bag mixed up again with all these cautions. People have gotten away from all their teammates, and now you see AJ Green having to work with Ethan Fonseca Moreno. But right as I say that, we see a work of Dark Horse Racing on the top side. Trevor Haley going to get up there with Juan Escamilla. See if they pick up Ethan Fonseca Moreno. They've been working really well with him so far.
A refreshing look up front with Juan Escamilla taking control. There's Adam Alishire blinking in and out. He'll get to the apron and try and let the field by. Down the tri-oval. There's the Coca-Cola machine with a huge run entering the first corner. Will he have enough momentum to stomach a race lead bunch?
And that momentum is going to wrap around all the way to the back straightaway. When you get a top line rolling like that, the straightaways are your best friend, especially at the very end. That's a long way to ramp down the end of the corner, proceeding the straightaway, and get as far away from you can ahead of the line below to try and clear. And that's great progress. And now he's got the lead poking out front.
He's going to have great help. His teammate Trevor Haley and both of those drivers from the Indianapolis area, 2 Indiana home drivers working together at the front. And how about Zachary Cato, the 23 car, running third on the inside now as they bring Christopher Bishop up, and Kyle Benson tries to command what is left of the outside charge. The rookie driver was involved in our earliest caution of the night alongside fellow rookie Logan Gill. He got his U.S. Air Force Chevrolet fixed, and Cato making headlines up at the front, running third.
Right behind him, Christopher Bishop, who was also involved in a caution earlier today. So all these cautions that have come after have allowed these guys to get back on par and on pace with everybody else. As look at the swarm of race cars we have back here, Kenneth, as Cody Fair dive to the bottom of the racetrack in front of Nicholas Bauman. They are 3 wide back here and slowing everybody down.
It got very dangerous as Cody Spare flanked to the inside. Tyler Murray backed out of line. Craig Parks. And what's behind him of Gabriel Dahari trying to make an outlasting effort at the top of the speedway. They're going to get out of the 3 wide situation and be back to 2 wide as soon as they gather up into turns 1 and 2. And they've fallen all the way to nearly the back half of the top 15. They have been on the outskirts just because of the faulty pushes. Murray is not helping the cause. Only 3 cars up at the top of the speedway, and no help as Juan Escamilla comes across to turn 3 in control.
And I think these 2 up front are definitely happy working with each other. Juan Escamilla and Trevor Haley know each other for a long time in this league. They've definitely worked together, whether we've seen it or not. So this is exactly what those 2 want. As for everyone in towards the back of the field, I think everyone's still trying to find their places, find their teammates. But at this point, I think settling in is the best effort right now.
We'll see what happens, though. But an interesting proposition here, Keelan, is that with everybody pitting on that recent yellow, they pitted now 6 or so laps ago. And what that means is that they pitted at the 40 lap to go mark. Can you make it on 40 laps of fuel if you save enough? It could be really tough and on the marker.
It is tight. That is about the window, anywhere between 30, 40 laps. I think we saw the latest pit stops around lap 35 or so in that first opening stint. So you're going to be really close to that number with the 75% fuel fill. But if you get cautions to benefit you, you can maintain the track position and keep that position. But if we get a caution now, I think everybody would be good if they came in for service at this very time. But as it stands right now, I think being the leader could be a disadvantage. That's going to cost you to choke on some gas, and it'll make you struggle.
Here's the onboard look from Christopher Bishop, one of the several Murray Reedy Motorsports cars in this field, and one of the OGs of 4 wide racing. He has been in this league for a long time alongside Benson, Tyler Murray, and the rest of the guys who have been basically heralding this series since 2020 when it first formed. And Bishop having a fantastic run right now. We know he can be stout at a lot of tracks, particularly these super speedways, and he's got a beautiful Ford Mustang on tap tonight. Chrome numbers on behalf of the 42 in orange, and it shines bright, although the lights aren't out yet and the sun isn't peeking out from the clouds here at Daytona just yet. Hopefully it does when we get later on in this show. Inside the final 33 laps, and on the outside lane, still no real chance of getting to those group at the front. As Murray Reedy Motorsports gathers together, Jonathan Juergensmeyer, Gabriel Dahari, and Nick Donatien, that Go Inc. Chevrolet, are going to try to make it at least 6 cars strong on the top groove, Charlie, but they really do need more help, and perhaps they may want to tuck in line and start playing this strategy game, especially knowing how close the field could be. They may be able to have a chance to surge, but if they don't take part of that opportunity, they will sink very quickly.
Well, they're going to need some help here. The top line is a fraction of what the bottom end line is right now. It really depends on what the field wants as a whole. I think at this point, when you're almost 75% of the way through a super speedway race, you're just trying to get to the end. I think the mindset is just to settle in, click off laps, and especially for the drivers up front who are maybe sitting inside the top 10, keep your position. Don't get out of line and risk losing all of that in just an effort to get there, or excuse me, be on the outside and try to make up a little bit more. It's a high risk, high reward scenario, but if you want a pusher and a strong pusher, I'm thinking Kyle Benson's going to be up there. Ethan Fonseca Moreno, when I think of big pushers, he's almost extraterrestrial in the sense that his pushing is really out of this world, if you will.
It's been great to see, and Ethan is very good at pushing. I mean, from what we've seen on the pit road strategy, him, Justin Rott, all of them know how to give a good push and know how to stay in that line without burning up their engine and causing big-time problems. As there's Tyler Murray blinking in and out of the server, but they are starting to make slow progress, and it's really a matter of who wants to stay conservative in this race inside the final 30, Charlie, or really who wants to be spontaneous at the front of this field. If you're a Zachary Cato, maybe if you're a Christopher Bishop, you see a race victory that potentially could land in your lap and into your palm, so you're thinking, if that outside's got a good enough charge, I'm going to take note of it. I may jump up to that higher lane, up the banking, and start to make a look at it myself. But if you understand you're on the marker, I don't think you'd envy being in that Juan Escamilla position, knowing that you're wasting the most fuel at the head of this field.
And you got to feel like when you're strategizing for these guys, they don't have the crew chief on top of the box with all the iPads in the world to be able to figure out your fuel's number and your fuel situation. So that just adds more and more to the strategy as this race carries on. And that's what makes sim racing so difficult at these super speedways. Kenneth, you have to drive your car as fast as you can around the track and also think of your own strategy and also make your pit stops in those black boxes and everything. There's so much that you're juggling around in these race cars, and that is what these guys are going to be looking at. They're looking at fuel calculations and everything right now, and everybody's kind of walking on eggshells. They don't want to wreck their cars before we get into the last 10 laps or so. So this is kind of the dead period in the race where everybody's kind of taking it easy before we ramp the aggression right back up towards the end of this thing.
Always a matter of time here at Daytona, and in these super speedway races, so different from what we usually see in the other tracks on the schedule, because next week Richmond will be a huge dive into a very different discipline of short track racing, and going into strategy there, it's much different. It's all about saving the tires, maintaining the handling of the race car, and then making sure you can be able to save enough and get on a strategy to make it on fuel based on the situation. At the super speedways, you're using so much of the throttle, you don't have time to clutch and coast. You can't make that happen unless you're in that situation where you're just going to bleed off a lot of time and it won't work. So you really have to be wise about how much throttle you are putting in. And here come the leaders exiting off of turn 4. They're going to dive underneath the double yellow line. And at lap 72, it's a large group coming in.
And these drivers are operating off that ideology to pit as close as possible to the pit window. This is right on the money for these guys. Maybe just a few more laps, extending past lap 100. A few drivers missing their pit stalls, such as Ethan Fonseca Moreno, the number 88, and Nicholas Baumann. A lot of people having trouble taking tires, but mainly getting that full tank of fuel and getting it back out there as soon as possible.
And make sure that nobody ends up with a speeding penalty. Make sure you get out in a group. Bakayao will lead them out, and it's a fantastic pit stop. And they're going to have a whole host of other drivers. DBR has joined the fray with Brandon Banks, Lawson Peel, even a bit of Craig Parks and Dark Horse Racing, who have had a chance to work with BBR throughout the course of this race. They have been able to find their way in the midst of the fray, join the ensemble, and they're going to try and sing a winning song at the end of tonight's event, while Kyle Benson and the rest of the field in front now take pit road at lap 73.
And we heard Ethan Fonseca Moreno, how confident he was in his team strategy, but this is where I thought it could bite him. If you have like 10 different guys who are on your team coming into pit road, not communicating with you guys, it can make things a lot more difficult. And the other group, they could just come in the very next lap and figure things out themselves. So I feel like BBR, they're not going to have that advantage that they had at the very beginning of this race here. And as we see this Murray Reedy Motorsports and Company train pull off the racetrack. We'll see where they meet with all the other guys coming off pit road here.
And what was so interesting, Keelan, was that conversation we had with Moreno under yellow, where he basically told us no one can do this strategy better than us. Even if they try to replicate what we're doing, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. They will not step up to the level that we can. So it's really about what that secondary group can do to overcompensate for all that they're missing on this strategy from everyone up at the front. And it's right now led by Escamilla, looking for his first career 4-wide racing victory. And looking in that pre-race video that we had earlier on tonight from last season's race here, it took maybe 15, 16 laps, and Escamilla was on his roof. He called this shot on our Drop in the Hammer podcast a week before the race happened, and then all of a sudden he was on his roof and out of the race. So it is a big time difference from car 41 to car 87 in season number 2 of his 4-wide career, leading the charge with his teammates behind.
No hiccups there in terms of pushing each other. It's all streamlined is what they're doing. They're fully lined up, at least 7 cars in a line there, and operating off that strategy that we were talking about earlier that carried over from Talladega last year. This could be the winning strategy, guys. This group of cars up here, barring a yellow flag, operating as they are right now, are going to be the cars at the front at the end of this race. Only about 25 laps to go.
And right in the back of that picture, in dots, a long line of cars that are right behind this group trying to chase them down. We've seen this happen multiple times before, Keelan, as well, so it's not entirely out of the question that perhaps this secondary group that pitted later could end up in a place where they are running faster laps in better organization than those at the front, but at the moment not looking the case. And what makes matters even worse is that there are only 4 cars in this group in the back half of this top 10.
We will see how it all shakes out, but the strength in numbers is going to be in BBR's favor right here. I don't think they're going to be able to close this gap naturally during the green flag cycle that we have going on right now. They would need a yellow to bunch everything up, but you are really in a great position if you're the top 8 out there right now. That's the same number that got out there at Talladega. It was 8 of them that escaped, and I'm going to be interested to see when they start racing here as we see Benson take a look to the outside of green. Interesting here. I think he may drop back and allow Curtis Kelly to be able to push his teammate right there. And you see Curtis Kelly going to get up on there, and it's kind of like a baseball glove with the webbing, Kenneth. You're kind of catching your teammate's the ball, and you're pushing him down the straightaways. As that's what they're going to try to do here to try to make up some of that lap time. Kyle Benson turning the reins over to the 71 and pushing him down the racetrack, but I still think a yellow would need to be in the cards. And if you're these top 8 up here racing really straight in a straight line right now, when do you make the move to start racing? I know at Talladega last year, I have a little inside key here, Kenneth. When I was in that group in the top 8, they said we're not racing each other till 2 laps to go, and we know nobody will catch us. So not going to be the same strategy here tonight. Only time will tell.
Looks like this plan working well for KBueno Racing, and for whatever is left behind them, it's just a matter of a yellow coming out, like you said, Keelan, or perhaps some level of glory. And watching that look down the back straightaway with our skybox camera, that Francisco has done a great job of putting together all of the shots you're seeing here at Daytona and across the schedule in the KBueno Racing Network, this series and beyond, all made by Bacalhau to be as realistic as possible. You were watching how far and how aggressively they were pushing down the super stretch. That's because they see what these guys are doing up at the front, and they're saying, well, if that's what they're doing and it's working, we have to employ the same strategy. We cannot be giving so much space in between cars. We have to be on each other, and we have to find a way to balance that aggression with keeping the engine temps as cool as possible. And another great look at how Dahari gives the shot to Juan Escamilla down the straightaway. And what a story it is for Gabriel Dahari, Charlie Beyer. The story of last season where he made his first start at the cornfields in Iowa, ended up winning that race in a duel all-out against one of the best drivers ever in 4-wide in Brandon Hawken. He ended up making more starts, couldn't grab another win, but now fresh into Season 8 in a full-time effort, Dahari looking for more, a championship, and after being a lap down earlier in this race, he has recovered very nicely.
And you want to talk about drivers who are coming out the gate as contenders. It is full-time effort this season. I mean, we usually put up a lot of race predictions over the course of this season. I think a safe prediction for most races this year is going to be that number 72 of Gabriel Dahari. A critical effort in getting there is going to be his performances that are strong throughout the course of the season. As Wow, there's a lot of flashing colors there. But yeah, no, Gabriel Dahari, a strong car, not only on the tracks throughout schedules, road courses, short tracks, and now super speedways. He's going to be a critical effort in leading this pack of about 6, 7, about 8 cars to the end of this race.
Charlie, I don't know. That push to Juan Escamilla down the straightaway nearly put Dahari into the Spider-Verse. I don't know what was going on there.
Yeah. Huh.
Okay, you don't get it. Never mind. Well, we'll push forward. So
it was his camera, Charlie. His camera.
Yeah, I saw it.
All right, well, we're going to continue pushing forward. 20 laps to go here from Daytona. And if you want to know the gap between the front-running group that goes all the way back to Zachary Cato running 8th, from first all the way to that 8th place car, it's 0.7 of a second. From Cato back to Curtis Kelly, it is nearly 6 seconds full. Remember, AJ Green was leading that group. He fell out of line. Kelly took control, and it's still 4 cars strong. While another pack is starting to approach, AJ Green comes out of line to perhaps save more fuel, leading a third group. In 13th place is Tristan Bailey. So for right now, they're maintaining their relevance and not being in this place where they're out of the question for now. Keelan, it's just a matter of time at this point as long as we stay green.
Yeah, well, how this field is, it's very chopped up right now, so there's not going to be able to be much time to kind of close that gap. I mean, 19 laps to go. You need to be running perfectly. You can see that group at the end of the straightaway, and you're trying to reel them in, but it's just so separated right now. It's going to be very hard for that to happen, and I think that's really going to play in the BBR court right now, because none of these guys are going to run over each other and wreck each other, I'd assume. Maybe when they kind of close up right here, like Tristan Bailey closing up right now. AJ Green going to hop up in front of them, Tyler Murray as well. So you're going to see them kind of drive around Kelly and Benson here. And, oh, there goes Peel to the middle, and around he goes. Around goes Donati, and there's the caution right there. Brandon Banks pushing Lawson Peel through that pack. Peel tried taking the middle. He got into Donati, and that takes out the 12 car and the 93 in the process, but big damage for Lawson Peel right there in the 12.
And everyone,
really aggressive move right there, Kenneth.
And everyone had the ambiguity to go into different lanes, and it was a shot out of a cannon for Lawson Peel and Brandon Banks. And it turns out they flew too close to the Daytona sun. Caution flag out with 18 laps to go, and it is a huge move made. Again, like you said, Keelan, was Tristan Bailey and gang were starting to catch up. Big runs could be developed now that there were more cars, more energy in the group. But I don't really know what happens here. They flail to the outside. It's 3 DBR cars with Craig Parks right in the back. And Hill just tries to make the middle work, but he slides too far to the inside into Craig Lounslogger. And the Daytona bad luck continues for the Season 4 champion.
He's going to get a big push here from Brandon Banks, and you're going to see this run really develop. He's probably going 190, 195 here, faster than everybody in that group, and he's going to try to pick up as much speed as he can. He's going to try to make that hole in the middle, but that hole is just not really there as he gets into the back of Loudensfogger and then into Donati, and that tears up several race cars right there. And bad luck for Peel is going to continue as this is going to stack up the field. And you're going to have to maybe save a little bit in the tank here if you're these BBR guys. Try to save a little bit for a possible green-white checkered attempt.
And that's what you're seeing out of current race leader Juan Escamilla. We knew how close these front-running drivers were to the window, but because they are that close and because Escamilla has been taking part as the leader for most of it, he's burning all that fuel, has to be down at the apron. And the reason drivers do that in real life and on iRacing is because when you're in the 31 degrees of banking, all that fuel is leaning to the left side of the race car. So it's much harder for you to save a bit of that gas and get the fuel into your proper tanks, or in other cases, reserve tanks. So if you're down on the apron, you're at a level field, you're at a level area, and in that case, you are able to put yourself in a place where you can use the reserves, you can start to save a bit more gas, and it works out. I'm not sure if that ideology works perfectly on iRacing, but it definitely goes well in real life. It has helped some drivers save a lot more gas compared to others, so just a matter of time as some of the back intentionally come in, topping off inside 16 laps to go. And I'd imagine here, Charlie, for the front-running guys, it's a gamble, but it's one they're willing to take now, knowing that it's not going to be a strategy that's going to push them out front. It's going to be their organization that will.
Yeah, I mean, it's less than 20 laps as you go in this race. Although it might be close on fuel, track position right now is especially valuable. And for these teammates that are going to be working together, it means a lot, not only for them on the racetrack, but with each other. They're going to be, you can bet that they're going to be nose to tail with each other towards the end of this race. So it's going to be something, it's going to be a risk that they're willing to take.
So with 16 to go, Escamilla is the race leader. Gabriel Dahari back in second. Francisco Bacalhau, who was once a lap down, in third. Right behind is Trevor Haley in fourth. P5 going to the 60 machine of Michael Walls. Sixth place going to Justin Rott. Zachary Cato, seventh. Jurgensmeyer in eighth. Curtis Kelly, ninth. And AJ Green, the top 10. There's a beautiful look at what's going down at Daytona. Not only the field pacing around the iRacing official pace car, but some virtual planes taking their final approaches into KDAB, Daytona Beach. That's the airport that's right behind the back straightaway, and also right next to the Embry-Riddle Aeronautical School. Lots of pilots train out at Embry-Riddle. It's a very big weather school as well. Here's a plane. I don't know if it's on takeoff here, Charlie, but looking good.
It's taxiing for sure.
Just being a bit explorative here at Daytona. And with all of the great things you have on the sim, we are also getting ready for a brand new Daytona refresh, guys, on the iRacing build that will come out in a couple weeks from now. We are going to have not only a refreshed Daytona, but we'll have a refreshed Texas, a new look COTA with a brand new layout. Charlotte Motor Speedway gets a brand new scan, and they also get the newly renovated Roval layout. Rockingham with a brand new repave. North Wilkesboro getting its repaved version alongside the 1987 version. It's kind of an exciting time to be an oval racing fan on iRacing, and even with NASCAR 25 coming out October 14th, it's going to be a lot more for even these stock car fans on iRacing to look forward to on the console side.
Going to be really fun, Kenneth. I'll tell you what, that NASCAR refresh, that's all I race here on iRacing, so it has me really excited to be an oval racing fan. And some of these tracks, they don't have many updates. They get maybe once every handful of years. And I mean, I know when I got in the sim in 2020, some of the racetracks were from their original scan from back in the late 2010s. So seeing everything get its repainted, refreshed, and surface all tapped up, it's been really fun to race. And over these last 5 years, I don't think I've fallen in love with any game more than I have with iRacing. This is just, it's a timeless game, Kenneth, and it's just awesome to see what can become of it. Careers can be started here in many different facets of motorsports, and it's just it's an exciting time. It's only going to grow from here, Kenneth. It only gets better.
It's going to be awesome, and iRacing expanding into the console scene is big as well, not only for the NASCAR community, but the IndyCar community. They can start to rejoice after so many years of not having a proper IndyCar console title. They will get what they've been wanting for so long. 2026 is the year that the IndyCar video game will come out, and iRacing Studios is going to be in control of developing that game with the license of IndyCar. So a lot of good news for the oval fans and the NASCAR community, but for the IndyCar community, they are enjoying everything as well. Green flag comes out with now 14 laps to go from Daytona. A wonderful launch for the Coca-Cola Chevrolet of Juan Escamilla. Bacalhau there to give the push, and the BBR teammates now commanding inside and outside from second and third.
I'm going to be really curious to see how long they race with each other, Kenneth, and how cool as a cucumber they will be with each other. I feel like they're going to work together for now, but when push comes to shove towards the end of this race, people are going to be selfish for the win, and maybe it'll start right now. Francisco Bacalhau to the top side of the racetrack with help from Michael Walls. Dark Horse leading the charge on the bottom, but Francisco Bacalhau, we saw this happen in the Daytona duels 1 week ago. Duel number 2, he got up front late and maintained that lead for the rest of the show. Could he be doing something here, Kenneth? I don't know. If he wins and is playoff eligible, we may not see him next week.
And all it took was a good run off the corner, a move up to the high side, and then all the help in the world on those final laps of duel number 2. Now inside goes Justin Rott. He'll find some help. Michael Walls and Bacalhau will shut them off. Tahari is solo on the top side off of turn 2.
This is finally all paying off for Francisco Bacchial. Won a lap down earlier, fought his way up through the field, and now at the peak of this race, the peak racing and peak energy throughout this field, he's got control with Michael Walls and Justin Rott right behind him. Those are teammates, at least for this race, a little bit of partnership that's going to help him a lot come towards the checkered.
And on the outside lane, Murray Reedy Motorsports was attempting a charge. It was failed. Escamilla now. Big run off the final corner. Trevor Haley, the Indiana native, will push the fellow Indiana Hoosier to the front of this field from Daytona with 12 laps to go. To the inside goes Escamilla. Zachary Cato on the high side. BBR working to the inside of the racetrack in turn 1, and Escamilla puts his foot on the gas and says, I'm not going to give up the spot yet.
We are seeing the cream of the crop rise to the top here, Kenneth. Juan Escamilla looking for his first career win. Trevor Haley looking for his first points-paying win as well. Francisco Bacallao in line with them. A lot of the super speedway racers we're used to seeing up front towards the end of these races have found themselves towards the front as we close in on the end here. Francisco Bacallao, how content will he be behind Escamilla? A lot of chemistry with him and Michael Walls from NASCAR 15 back in the day. They have over a decade of working together on a NASCAR game in them. Can they put it to good use today against Juan Escamilla? 11 laps to go.
There's the onboard look from Bacallao. All the view of Escamilla in front. Right in the rear view mirror, the rest of the field. Another charge up top, nearly. There goes the send up high. Bacallau's going to look for the lead, and he's got it down the super stretch. Escamilla falls back. Bisham will pick him up, and a 4-car train led by the Hialeah, Florida native takes control, coming to 10 laps to go.
That shows the commitment between these guys up in the top 3. They are hooked bumper to bumper, ready to shove someone out of the way and send them down the drain. Juan Escamilla is now going to fall outside of the top 10 as Francisco Bacallao shot out of a cannon. Now he's got the lead with 10 to go.
Got to be so careful, though, when you're pushing this hard inside the final 10. One misalignment can cause chaos, especially if it happens from the front-running 2 or even the front-running 3 cars in this field. There's the GOAT Incorporated, number 07, Justin Rott, making his move to the inside from 3rd. Out top is Trevor Haley. He's got help from Cato. AJ Green, 3rd in line up top. On the high shelf, they do not have the momentum. Bacallao still in the lead to turn 3.
We're going to see if Michael Walls will make a move or if he's going to be content with Francisco Bacallao. And it just seems every year, Kenneth, these rookies just get better and better as Michael Walls, he's going to try to come in here in his debut race and steal a win away from a seasoned veteran. He's got Justin Rott helping him behind him. AJ Green, a little further deep in the pack, going to have Curtis Kelly and Adam Alishire. Those guys have a lot of success at Daytona together. Can they get something going on the top? They're going to need a little bit more help than just the 3 of them.
And you've got 2 drivers. There is Alishire. Gets turned right in front of Tristan Bailey. They'll go into the outside wall, and they will bring out a crucial yellow with 9 laps to go. And just as I was about to bring the point up, that Alishire and AJ Green are among the 3 4-wide drivers in history to have more than 1 win here at Daytona. All of a sudden, Alishire's chance for the win potentially squandered in this final segment. And it was as Tristan Bailey was making a move middle 3 wide, as him and Kyle Benson had attempted a 3rd line before. It didn't work. They were at the back of the group. They'll have a chance to reset, but at the cost of some damage to the race car. As we'll get a look at how this all unfolded from the shot entering turn 1. So there's the Coors Ford Mustang of Alishire. It's Tristan Bailey, that bright yellow Loves RV Stop Ford that goes down low, but I don't know, Charlie, it just looked like he wasn't fully committed to the middle. He was trying to weigh out his options, and unfortunately, that split second is what's going to happen to make them make contact, and it is in turn what creates our most recent yellow inside the final stretch.
Yeah, and those gaps just get tighter. As the laps click down, it's drivers are going to start feeling gaps a little bit tighter. They're going to start putting their nose in little holes that might close up really quick. Everything kind of comes closer together when you get to the end of this race, and that seems to be what happened here.
Tough luck there for Alishire. Nothing he could do to evade the situation. And then just getting tapped, and around he went. Alishire will rejoin the field from 21st place, and we'll have our most recent yellow flag come out inside the final 8 laps to go. And this is something that we saw in the dual races, guys, where obviously it was a sense of that urgency inside the final 10, and then caution comes out, brings out overtime restart, and then you start to really worry about how you can master a 2-lap to go restart over and over again. So it's really a matter of playing that game, hopefully right, to capture a victory tonight from Daytona. And Bacalhau would love nothing more than to have his first start at Daytona this season be a race victory in hand. Again, he's running part-time with this next-gen schedule in Season 8. If he can at least capture one or more victories, that would be a huge boost. We are joined by our fellow driver analyst now, Francisco. And Francisco, you've had a whale of a race. You were a lap down from a near spin off of turn 4. You recovered nicely. You banded up with your teammates. And now you've got the lead inside the final 7. What are your emotions right now?
Oh, man, Kenneth. I don't want to get too ahead of myself on what's going on right now. It was a great recovery. Everything kind of went my way there. I was at the center of a couple of incidents, but fortunately didn't get any damage at all and didn't get any pieces of it, so we were just kind of able to go on there. The outside moved on one of those middle of the race restarts and got up to my teammates where we made that green flag pit stop, got in the top 5, and well, since then we've kind of been working really strongly together. I think over these last scheduled 6 laps, I think we could work really well together and try to get us into a position where one of us can win this race.
Similar fashion to taking the lead here as you did at the end of duel number 2, and it all came down to teammates. Quickly, how important are having those teammates around you in a situation like this where it's really just going to come down to the line?
It can make the entire difference, Kenneth, to be honest with you, because if you're a lone wolf out here, they can leave you out at any point and you would never know it. So when you have teammates to work with, to talk strategy with, it's incredibly helpful. And luckily, everyone at KBueno Racing has done a really good job of bringing fast cars for just about everybody in the organization. And a couple of our allies out here have really worked well together, and they're running inside this top 5 right now. So we're going to get this restart. It's going to be 5 laps to go when we go back green. And I'm hoping I can be the one to bring it, but there's several guys behind me that I'm sure want it too. And honestly, as long as I can bring it back in one piece, I think I'll be fine.
Well, Francisco, I'm getting nervous over here because I know you said you're not running full time, but if you get that win and punch your ticket to the playoffs, I'm going to get worried you ain't going to come back next week.
No, absolutely not. No, I'm 100% going to be part of the booth throughout this season. My win won't count towards the playoffs, so I won't play spoiler in that sense. I will be running a lot of races during the first part of the schedule just due to the tracks that they are and what I'm looking forward to specifically, but next week, I am 100% in the booth, and I will be for most of the season, so don't worry about it.
Having a chance to steal the spotlight and grab a win here from Daytona would be awesome, Francisco, but still some ways to go and 5 laps to go. Best luck on this restart here.
Appreciate it.
That's our main man, Francisco Bacalhau. Usually joins us in the booth. Now on the racetrack here with a part-time schedule. And I guess we got confirmation that if he wins tonight, he will not run full-time, but still will be a huge moment nonetheless for our good friend as Bacalhau leads. Michael Walls will be right on the outside. Justin Rott and Ethan Fonseca-Moreno could not ask for a better row 2 if you're Bacalhau here with all the help he's received from that group. Jonathan Juergensmeyer, who stepped things up with top 10s down the line in Season 7, looking for a great approach into Season 8 with a victory tonight. And alongside him, Trevor Haley, Juan Escamilla 7th, Zachary Cato, the rookie, maintaining top 10, AJ Green, and Christopher Bishop line up the rest of the top 10 running group. But again, could not last for long as we'll cross the line for 5 laps to go. The sun is coming out here at Daytona. Could it shine on a brilliant winner tonight, either for the first time or for another time? It's Bacalhau looking for his first win in a next-gen car. Michael Walls on the outside looking for his first win in his first start. They'll take the front row, and to the restart zone they will go with 5 more trips around Daytona left remaining. Green flag in the air.
We're going to hear him roar to life down this front stretch here, and we're going to see what Bacalhau does. Is he going to work with Michael Walls? You see he kind of backs up to Justin Rott there. He doesn't want to pull too far out front because he knows then he is a sitting duck. You see 5 guys right here that have been working really well together. That bottom line getting organized, but Trevor Haley is going to get Moreno up to Michael Walls down the backstretch and coming to 4.5 laps to go. side by side down the back.
This will even out the group. Michael Walls with a hefty push from behind by Moreno. They are double file nearly all the way back. Trevor Haley third, all the way nose on the rear end of the 92 Chevrolet, pushing Michael Walls barely to the front. Still gridlocked as they come off of turn 4. Bacalhau with the lead. 4 laps to go this time.
Back to the line here. We're going to see Bacalhau just barely at the line, at the edge, and he's going to continue to lead here as you see AJ Green all by his lonesome trying to make something work up top. And we start to see that bottom start to pull away. First 3 going to get clear of the pack. Justin Rott, he's all over Bacalhau right now, really helping him out. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, he may have an opportunity to hop up to the top and maybe make a move here. Zachary Cato getting clear. There you see Christopher Bishop makes a move to the top, and Michael Walls is going to be forced to help that 42 car if he wants any shot at getting to victory lane. Coming back to 3 laps to go.
Could that help be the winning move? Michael Walls is pointing down low, nearly turned around the 42 Ford Mustang. On the outside goes Craig Lownslugger. He's got no help. He'll shuffle to the back. Still no third lane in development with 3 laps to go. And Bishop in a chance to score his first victory in a next-gen car in 4-wide racing, but Bacalhau remains up front.
And your friends are where you find them, guys. The clock is ticking. It doesn't matter. People can't... If you find your teammate, you're lucky at this point because it's a mixed bag of drivers and that third lane is trying to come up. But they are side by side. Down the back straightaway, here comes Craig Landslager. I move to the inside, almost 3 wide. And here comes that number 60. It's going to get tight, but he files back in line.
He got too scared right behind the 42. It would have caused a huge crash inside the final few laps. With 2 laps to go, here from the World Center of Racing, Bishop gets shoved out of line. Hip checking with the Buey Esports number 03. That's Brian Dixon into the top 10. 2 to go.
We're starting to see everybody get squirrely. Look at Kyle Benson leading that charge on the top. Help from Eric Schaefer, 3x3 deep. But the top 5, it's the same story. Single file out. Bacalhau gonna give Justin Rott some air down here through 1 and 2. Zachary Cato gonna hop up to the middle, but Bishop is gonna hop up in front of his teammate, Benson, and they're now 3x3. Bishop getting help from his teammate, and they're gonna get up there and start to challenge for the race lead. Coming back to the white flag for 1 lap to go. It's anybody's race as they come up forward to the white.
Can they make it all the way without causing a yellow? Zachary Cato, the rookie, in the middle, as Christopher Bishop wanes up high with a chance at glory. White flag from Daytona. And up top, the pushes are hefty. There's Jurgensmeyer looking up high to get help from the 23 car. And it's Bacalhau watching the sea of machines behind, hoping he can stave them off for his first win in a next-gen car. Who can survive down the super stretch? They're crashing now. Curtis Kelly, Brandon Banks, and the lot goes spinning in the back. It's a large plume of smoke. And only 2 lines left. Jurgensmeyer forced out of line. Bishop and Benson right behind trying to help. And as they come across to the start-finish line, there's Justin Rott. Spins Bacalhau. Jurgensmeyer under. Everyone's crashing to the line. Who's going to get there first? And somehow, Michael Walls is going to cross the line first. In his debut, Michael Walls wins at Daytona. Unbelievable.
That was everybody, Kenneth. Everybody's wrecking comes to the checkered flag, and it's all about timing and scoring. Who got across the line first? And timing and scoring is saying Michael Walls out of Nesbitt, Mississippi is going to win in his debut race. What a finish. We're going to have to get a look. Charlie may have to get a look for us of that cross across the line to see who got it and how close it was. But that was everybody, Kenneth. Everybody crashing coming to the checkered.
We're gonna have to look at every replay camera possible because you're about to see how Michael Walls somehow got through this crash. Guys, I couldn't even track him coming to the start-finish line, and all of a sudden time and scoring set him ahead of everybody else. Guys, let's look at a replay.
Unbelievable finish. And Michael Walls is going to celebrate for the first time. Paul's Setup Shop Victory Lane will see Michael Walls take the victory in his first ever 4-wide run. And it's magic here at Daytona. I don't know how we can process that final lap until the start-finish line. but it's worthy of a second look, a third, a fourth. You got to keep counting up until we're able to fully process how this all unfolded. So we're going to start here at the exit of turn 2 on the final lap. Keelan, they are 3 abreast. Christopher Bishop and Kyle Benson are making a lifetime run at the top of the banking, but it's going to cut short the run for a lot of the drivers. And Michael Walls is in the middle of this, by the way, down the super stretch.
Yeah, you look at where he is on the racetrack, you don't think he has any chance, but Zachary Cato gets turned right in front of him. Somehow, Michael Walls, the wreck happens all around him, and then look at how far back he is from everybody else in this pack. You're going to see Jonathan Jurgensmeyer block Christopher Bishop and not let him get a run up there on the top, and that kind of kills the outside line's momentum. So then the race is on up front. You're going to see Rott and Bacayao get into trouble, wreck each other. Everybody's crashing, and Michael Walls, through the grass, just drives it all the way to the front. He put his foot down. He did not lift, Kenneth. That was Days of Thunder-esque right here. You're going to see all the wrecking in front of him. He sees his opportunity to win the race open up through the grass. Watch this. All the wrecking around him.
Wow.
Just put your foot down and drive it to the checkered, why don't you? Michael Walls.
I think
just incredible stuff.
I'm certain that he's the only driver in this pack that did not make other contact with another car, and he just found that hole that could have easily closed up and ruined that opportunity, but he somehow found a way, and through the grass he takes the checkered flag. That's unbelievable.
Charlie, he was 9th right as they were coming off of turn 4. 9th place, and somehow the seas part as they come to the line, and through the grass, Michael Walls escapes as a victor here at Daytona in unbelievable fashion. Just when you thought that 4Wide Racing couldn't get any wilder, it steps it up 10 notches plus more.
Oh my goodness, Ken. I just can't believe that. I thought Francisco had it, and then I thought Eric Schaefer was going to steal it, and then they all just, everybody's crashing. Michael Walls just puts his foot down and drives it through here. You see Dahari and Rott. They're both going to make a move, and Bacayao maybe does a mini block, and then Rott tagging Jonathan Jurgensmeyer is what stopped Eric Schaefer and Jurgensmeyer from racing to the line side by side, and that's what allowed Michael Walls to just drive through it as everybody crashes. Kenneth, I don't know if I've seen a wilder finish in 4Wide yet, where the whole field is involved in something, and one person drives it through without making contact with any other car to the checkered flag. That may be the craziest finish I have seen in my tenure here covering 4Wide.
You know, it was a huge crash on the back straightaway in turn 3 on the white flag lap last season for Steven Stempien to escape the victor. It's Michael Walls from 9th place entering the tri-oval, getting around the sea of wrecked cars to win this race by a full 10th over Brian Dixon. The 03 car for Buey Esports somehow escaped, and he was crashing as well in the middle of this, but crossed the line second. Gabriel Dahari recovers from being a lap down earlier on tonight after spinning on pit road to be 3rd. Kyle Benson somehow grabs 4th out of this. AJ Green escapes for 5th. Christopher Bishop at a near shot to win ends up P6. Eric Schaefer 7th. Justin Rott 8th. Ethan Fonseca Moreno 9th. And Keelan Belsham, Michael Newbraw, the 6th car, who was at one point 37th, dead last in this race in the first segment. He walks away with a top 10.
Jonathan Jurgensmeyer finishes in 11th. I thought he had an opportunity there as the seas kind of parted. Francisco Bacayao, he was first with about 300 yards to go, but he ends up in the 12th position. Steven Maggio got damaged a little bit earlier. He crawls his way through in 13th. Craig Lautenschlager finishes in 14th. Nick Donati finishes in 15th after I thought his car was totaled with the Lawson Peel incident. Cody Spare finishes in the 16th position. Trevor Haley, Juan Escamilla, a couple guys involved in that last lap crash on a backstretch. 17th and 18th. Daniel Moore finishes in the 19th position, and Curtis Kelly, who we saw up front a lot tonight, finishes in 20th.
That's Tyler Murray in that 21st position. Jason Hastings, that number 22nd position, finishes in that number 49 car. Brandon Bakes, Nicholas Bauman, Tristan Bailey, and Zachary Cato will run up those cars on the lead lap. Adam Alishire had a bit of a glimpse out front, finishes 27th. Logan Gill, Randall Payne, and Timothy Cook Jr. involved in an earlier crash. They will round out your top 30.
31st is Chris Fowler, 2 laps down. Lawson Peel back 17 laps in 32nd. Was really a nightmare speed weeks entering this race, and it's still a nightmare out of it. Craig Parks 33rd. Kevin D'Elia 34th. 35th goes to Tony Kivitt. Jaden Porter crashes in this race early to 36, and Jacob Locklear also exit this race early. 62 laps down is where he finalizes our 37 car field from Daytona. And after being 9th out of turn 4 on the white flag lap, Michael Walls captures his first ever 4-wide victory in spectacular and speechless fashion. Michael, I don't know if you have any words to put together after what a finish that was at the end. But how can you describe the emotions after a finish like that?
I don't even know what to say about that, to be honest. That's just incredible. I don't even know what to say. This is my first ever plate track win on this game. And it just feels so good to finally have a win off my back after running good in almost every single race that I do at a plate track. And just in a fitting way to win just like that. So
to be 9th off the final corner is something, especially when you have so many cars up in front. And to see what happens in front of you after, how do you try and process that behind the wheel of the race car? Because you, at one point, saw the field crash right in front of you. A big one happens on the super stretch, and you're kind of nearly left stranded. What seemed to be the mindset in those final 2 corners? And then, as you saw what happened in front of you, how did you process all that was going on?
yeah, after the first wreck on the backstretch, I was kind of just trying to get the draft, hope for the best, and hope maybe there'd be a wreck in front of me. Whenever I saw the wreck in front of me, it's just look for all the cars that are just spinning everywhere and try to shoot the gap and hope for the best. So,
well, somehow it all works out, and it's a 2-1, Micah. Your first career victory in 4-wide happens here at Daytona, and the first victory for GOAT Incorporated happens here at Daytona to open Season 8. How meaningful is that to not only strike gold your very first try in this series, but to also get a brand new team their first victory?
Yeah, it's big for our team. Well, I guess in other leagues we were pretty successful, but for the first time in this league, it's pretty nice to finally have our first team win, and to come in here and get our very first win and just our second start, I guess. So,
well, it's unbelievable stuff, Micah, and I'm sure you're still left with some time to figure out how that finish underwent for you, but it was wild from 9th to 1st in the span of I don't even know how many feet, but it was super close to the start-finish line. Micah, before we send you off from the victory here at Daytona, any final parting words or anybody you want to thank or shout out for tonight's win?
yeah, I want to shout out all the GOAT guys. Just good working with them, good working with BBR guys in the call with them. So, just hope for a good rest of the season.
Well, Micah, on behalf of all of us at the KBueno Racing Network, congratulations on the victory. Well deserved, even in the midst of the chaos, and a great way to start off season number 8. Thank you for joining us. Congrats on the win, and we'll see you in the field at Richmond. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Michael Walls captures his first ever victory, and it's the first one for GOAT Incorporated, their first ever starts as a team. Ends up with their first ever win. And Keelan Belsha, Brian Dixon, who, by the way, won a duel last season to start on the front row of this race just 1 year ago, is in the mayhem on the final lap and escapes. Ends up with second. You're caught up with him.
Well, Brian, I saw you there towards the end of the race. We hadn't heard much out of you for the first 80 laps or so, and then we get to the final shakedown, final run of the race, and you were there 5th in line on the bottom, and I had to keep my eye on you. We knew from that dual win last year you were going to have some speed, and somehow you got through the carnage for the most part to pick up a second place finish. Can you take us through your race, and most importantly, that final stretch from about turn 4 to the checkers?
I'm surprised I even made it through all night. I was like a ping pong ball out there, and somehow I got up there to 5th, and Schaefer dropped down in front of me, and I'm like, I'll just push him because I'm not really running for points over here. So, and then I seen a car get sideways and just sent me down into the grass, and I'm like, well, I ain't lifting. So let's see what happens.
I think that's what everybody who finished in the top 3 here, they just didn't lift. They got shoved in the grass and kept going, and that's what got you on the podium, the second step of the podium here tonight. A great second place run for you, and you have some speed here at this Daytona racetrack that we have noticed. These super speedways, you like to be running up front, especially here in 4 wide. So, very good run for you. So, how do you feel about your chances as the season progresses and as we go into some more racetracks? You think you can get up there and climb the step to put yourself in victory lane as the season goes on?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not really running for points over here. I run over here when my other league doesn't run, but I like running over here. All the guys over here are awesome to shoot the shit with and just race with. You know, it's fun, and that's why I try to stay in here and try to run some races when I can and see what happens.
For sure. Well, a good run for you tonight to put yourself in a second position. You want to thank for putting together this run.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the DBR guys, all the admins over here. Look, these guys are awesome. And also Bowie Esports, and I'll go back and watch your guys' broadcast like always. Love watching you guys, and thanks for putting it on.
We appreciate you, Brian, and congratulations on a great second place finish this evening.
Thanks, bud.
Brian Dixon, P2 at the start-finish line, and I think that's a perfect description of what everyone was facing entering the trial. Not lifting, sending it to the grass, and just praying that it all works out. Dixon ends up with a great second-place finish. We are now joined by the driver who ends up in third, and much like the recovery for plenty of drivers in this field, it's the same for you, Gabriel. After being a lap down, you spun on pit road. It looked like this race was going to go sour, but you found a way to fight back through the adversity, and you come back with a chance to win. It's third tonight. How would you be able to describe the relentless effort you put on from lap 1 now to lap 100?
It was just such a roller coaster. I was leading for a good bit in that first run before we got to the pit stop. I was like, oh, this is great, doing good. And then I spun myself, pushed too hard. I would have been fine, but I downshifted a bit too much, thinking I wasn't going to make it, and they just spun me around. Unfortunately, got into Randy a little bit there. And then spent a while a lap down. Caution came out. Could not get the wave around because I had to pit for gas. Then luckily got a caution right as I was the first car lap down. Really did not think I was going to come back for a third place finish. Usually don't have very good luck here at super speedways, but I'm glad it worked out for me.
You were part of the pushing effort on the inside on the white flag lap in Duel 2 that helped Francisco Bacalhau win that race. You're kind of in a similar position here tonight in this opener. You're fighting for the lead, pushing forward on that white flag lap before everything breaks loose at the trial. From your intuition as a race car driver in the sim and from all your super speedway experience, what is that intuition inside the wheel of the race car, and how do you try and put yourself in that right place? What are you thinking at 1,000,000 miles a minute when you guys are on that final lap?
Yeah, a lot of it just comes down to experience. I know during the duels, I kind of messed up. I went a little too early. Could have pushed Maggio and had a much more similar situation there, taking him 3 wide. But here I made the right move, learned from my mistakes, gained experience, and I pushed Justin off of 4, waited for him to make a move on Francisco, and then I tried to go 3. Unfortunately, we wrecked right as that happened, but I think that would have been a pretty cool finish if it went green, or if we didn't wreck there.
But it all pans out. Third place here from Daytona. I'm sure that in your first full-time effort, this is a really good start. No matter what happened there on that trial. And after winning Iowa, we know you're capable of taking checkered flags, so possibly some more in 2025. Gabriel, before we let you go on this podium effort from Daytona Beach, anybody that you want to thank for tonight's finish?
Man, I don't remember everyone who was in my call. Shout out Justin, Ethan, Jurg, Francisco Bacalhau, Micah, Nick was also in my call. I think that was everyone in my call. Shout out to you guys at KBRN for broadcasting, and shout out the admins for keeping everyone in line. Shout out Tyler Murray for getting the show going, and yeah, that's about it.
Well, Gabriel, on behalf of all of us at the KBueno Racing Network, congratulations on third, even if it kind of came in an untraditional fashion with everyone crashing to the line. But a great job tonight. We'll see you at the field at Richmond next week.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Gabriel Dahari closes off tonight inside the top 3, but really it became who was going to live at the end of that race, guys. It was unbelievable to see how things unfolded, but it's Michael Walls who stands on top after a 100-lap race in which we saw many different leaders, and then we saw on that white flag lap just how chaotic it could get. Keelan, what are those overall thoughts after Daytona? How are we going to try and top this for the rest of the season? I don't think we can.
Oh, I think we started off with maybe the best we're going to see, but if we know these 4 wide guys, it's going to get even better. And this schedule, we talked about last year, how the schedule went. We kind of eased into the chaos as we got closer to the playoffs, and you kind of had to base your, get the races you could get out of the way, put yourself in a good position. I don't think anybody has that opportunity this season, Kenneth. I think we're going right into the fire next week at Richmond, Nashville after that. I think the chaos starts early, and it's sprinkled all throughout. There's only so many races you get where you can actually control what you're doing, and I think that's going to lead to a lot of parity and a lot of different winners like we saw with Michael Walls, the rookie, tonight. I mean, coming off turn 4 there, he's second in line in the middle. I don't think any of us thought he was going to get up there and steal that race win away, so as this season progresses, I think that's going to be the case. And Kenneth, I don't know. I wouldn't be too terribly surprised if maybe we saw 10, 15 different winners this season to qualify in for the playoffs. I think the possibility is definitely there with the talent we have in this league and the schedule that we have. We can see a lot of different winners this season, and I think that just makes our job a lot harder at trying to tell you guys at home who we're looking at for that championship.
Kind of hard for us even to call the end of this race with how wild it got at the start-finish line. And as we dive into the rest of the Season 8 schedule, there are the scenes for what we will see over the last end of this year. And then entering 2026, we go short track racing next week in Henrico County, Virginia. The Commonwealth in Richmond will host our second race of the season. That comes your way September 3rd, 2025. You can find our The 1,000 Islands Crewette pre-race show occurring at around 8:35, 8:40 p.m. Eastern before our race coverage kicks off at 9:10 p.m. Eastern. Myself, Charlie, Keelan, Francisco will be a part of the group, as always, bringing you coverage of 4 Wide Racing Season 8 as we try to go on the journey to Auto Club to decide a series champion. But for right now, we've got only one winner in the record books for the season, and his name is one Michael Walls, getting his first career victory in his first race, and for GOAT Incorporated, a new team getting to share the glory for the very, very first time. A huge thank you to Tyler Murray and the entire admin team for all that they do on behalf of 4 Wide Racing, and for all of the wonderful people at the KBueno Racing Network, for Francisco Bacallao, for my colleagues in the booth, Charlie Byer, Keelan Belsha, for Eli Comerford, for Nate Polite, and more. I am Kenneth Bueno saying so long from Daytona, but we'll be right back in just a few moments because the KBRN post-race show starts next. Welcome to the KBRN post-race show as we try to debrief and still try to figure out how in the world Michael Walls crossed the line first in a stunning Daytona opener for Season 8 of the 4 Wide Racing TJ's Team Series. I'm joined by the gang as always, Kenneth Bueno, Charlie Byer, Keelan Belsha, and now Francisco Bacallao, who joins us after a grueling race here from Daytona Beach, Florida. Keelan, we'll start with you. What an unbelievable way to start this season. Felt like last year, we still felt that there was more to be desired at the end of that white flag lap with Stempien being all by himself, but he ended up being the victor regardless. This time, the crashing happens way later at about the start-finish line, and through the grass, Michael Walls takes his first ever win. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough replays to watch, Kenneth, to help us understand what all happened there, because all that craziness started with 3 laps to go, and we started the 3-wide train really start to get going, and maybe we'll get another look at those closing laps as this post-race show progresses, but it was just insane, Kenneth. I mean, they wreck in the backstretch, and that really sets up an opportunity for these top 10 to scoot away and let the craziness happen amongst them, and now that we're joined by Francisco, maybe he can take us through those closing laps from his perspective, because I thought you had it for a bit, Francisco. I thought you were clear and you were going to get it, and then boom, all your teammates ditch you coming to the checkered flag. You're 3 wide and burned into the fence at one point, but I certainly hope you had fun. But that was just crazy stuff right there, Kenneth, as this race progressed.
It was wild, and we'll be joined by Francisco in just a couple of moments as he was the leader at the exit of the Turn 4 area of the racetrack. He ends up finishing in the top 15. He fell back to 12th after that crash that basically wiped out everybody. It was Michael Walls, the only car that didn't make contact with another through that tri-oval, and somehow he gets the victory. Let's try and recap where Michael Walls was in those final few laps, because again, it is still insane to ponder just how he got into the place he was. He was 9th when they were coming across to the start-finish line on that final lap, and Michael Walls wins. So here's an aerial shot at how the 60 car, that's that Fastenal Ford Mustang, how he gets through. He is pushing Christopher Bishop. That's when the third line starts to find momentum, Charlie. It's Kyle Benson, Eric Schaefer, Brandon Banks that help, and it's Christopher Bishop that sees his teammate goes up high and say, hey, I want to join you in the battle for the lead. They get a good push down the super stretch, and it's really just a who's who affair trying to get the race victory while Walls is stuck in the middle.
Yeah, at this point in the race, I think the main priority is just to advance your line and put yourself as far out as you can to try to get yourself in a lucky spot to win if you're beyond a few rows back. But all it took was a wrong push, and as Keelan kind of touched on earlier in this race, getting squared up on these pushes is so important because of these rounded bumpers. So at this point in the race, everybody's just trying to advance their line, just push the guy in front of them, whether he's a teammate or not, and try to put yourself in that spot.
And then right about here is where I think the trouble starts with Zachary Cato. Unfortunately got turned by Curtis Kelly, who then comes back up the racetrack into Moreno, into Banks, and into Donati. Basically, everyone else gets involved. It leaves this train of cars up at the front. There's Brian Dixon, falls back in the middle of the draft on the inside. And then Jonathan Jurgensmeyer is going to make this move on the top. Justin Rott is going to swing out of line with Dahari outside of turn 4. They try to wash Francisco out of the way, but they make contact. They bang doors, and then it's everyone crashing, but Michael Walls in the 60. He doesn't touch a single car in the route to the start-finish line as they all wreck. The only contact is right there to the inside wall. Michael Walls gets his first ever 4-wide victory in crazy fashion, and we're going to try and figure things out in the show as tonight progresses. Let's try and talk to some of the drivers that were a part of the main group, but basically were either crashed or something else happened. I believe we're joined now by Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. And Jonathan, what a finish that was. I know it wasn't the cleanest at the end for you and almost everyone else. You finished 11th in that affair, but what did you see on that white flag lap, and how do you figure out how it all went down now in the debrief?
There was a lot going on. I decided to make my move just a little bit after the white, and I didn't really get the help that I thought I would. The middle kind of just died, and then the third lane kind of prevailed. I made a nice block there and had a really, really nice run into 3, and then calamity happened. All 3 of the guys in front of me wrecked, and I thought, when I saw that, I thought it was going to be a drag race to the line between me and Schaefer, but just barely got clipped. My left rear barely clipped Schaefer, and it wrecked Schaefer too, so that really sucks for Schaefer. But yeah, it was really disappointing. Putting myself in position like that, and almost just putting myself in position to maybe luck into a win, and just it strikes right when I think that I might be striking gold, so yeah, it kind of sucks.
But it's still a valiant effort. I mean, from super speedway racing, obviously it's that mindset of anything can go down. You're in a position where you're at the mercy of someone else's mistake or something else in that sense. But, it is really a matter of finding your way to the front, and you kind of did a really good job of doing that. Just like I asked Francisco, I'll ask you this question as well. How important were the teammates in all of this? Because you weren't alone in this effort. It was you, Dahari, Bacallao, and the list continues. How important was that help in pushing you to the front and in getting you in a good spot to the end?
The whole race. All of BBR put ourselves in really good positions. I'm not the strategist. I just follow what they say. I don't really understand anything that's really happening at all, but I just listen to Fran, I listen to Ethan, I listen to Gabriel, and it put us in a spot where we were locking out the entire top 8 pretty much. And every time that there was a caution, we still had the entire top 8 with us. So, I mean, that was a huge help just to put myself in position. And at the end, even at the end, we're all working together pretty much. I mean, we're all working together. Even the GOAT guys, Justin and Micah, we're all working together pretty much until out of 4. And I mean, luckily Micah still won. Micah's a great guy. I'm really happy for him. So at least we still got something out of it, but yeah.
So you're one of those drivers who, like many in this league, have transferred over to other leagues that we broadcast on this network. SAC Cup Series being one of them. We've talked to you a lot in the post-race show there. So obviously shows you how good you are on both ends with this next-gen car. Is there any kind of features between both leagues that stand out to you the most? What stands out about SAC versus 4Wide and vice versa, in your opinion?
I feel like this league is much more team-oriented. We got a lot of guys. I mean, pretty much everyone is divided into their own separate groups, and like we got the BBR guys, we got the Stonks guys, all the Murray Reedy guys. I mean, it makes these play races a lot more of a chess match, otherwise, or compared to SAC, where it's more kind of just every man for himself. And I really like that about 4Wide. I really hope these races are really fun. I expect them to be, because they were awesome last year. So yeah, I'm just excited to have a full season of this league and compete for a championship.
Well, we asked you this in SAC. I think we're going to ask you this now in 4Wide. Any tracks that you see on this schedule? And actually, any of the new tracks that are on this schedule from last season? I know you're going to try to pull it up. I'll give you some time. There are new faces, new tracks on the schedule. Out of that group, I believe it's Montreal, Kentucky, Daytona Road Course, and there may be some others that I'm missing on the schedule right now. But among those, any of those being your favorite, any of those that you like the most?
I really like Kentucky. I think that's probably one of my better ovals. Montreal and Daytona Road Course, those are both fun track. I just really like driving road courses, so I don't think I'll win. I do have a better chance, I think, this season compared to last season, but yeah, for the oval side, for race winning wise, I think Kentucky I'm really looking forward to. But I mean, a lot of these other tracks on this schedule, there's a lot to look forward to.
So your name is Jonathan Juergensmeyer. You're from Beckmeyer, Illinois. Is there any relation to your name and the city you're from? It's a stupid question, but I remember seeing the list and seeing the entry for everyone. Beckmeyer, Juergensmeyer, is there some kind of relation there where was fate meant to have Jonathan Juergensmeyer born in the town of Beckmeyer?
I mean, I don't think they're they're definitely not like related, because the Juergensmeyer side of my family did not grow up here. But yeah, it's a small town of like 900 people, so I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
So from what I'm seeing right now, we'll give you this final question and we'll let you relax here after this race from Daytona. I see a Formula rim on your setup right now. Is that a makeshift Formula rim, or is that's a specific setup you've got?
About 3 or 4 years ago, I was doing a lot of F1 racing, like on the F1 games on my PlayStation, and I decided I wanted a Formula rim. So this is, this is a base. I think it's just a base. My mom got it for me for my birthday. It's just a base, and then she bought this Formula rim. They're both Thrustmaster separately, and I don't know how she ended up finding this, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm different than so many people. I prefer my hands being like this with an oval. I don't really look at my wheel, so it doesn't really throw me off. And a lot of people are really confused when they see me driving an open wheel rim with NASCAR. But yeah, I prefer it. A lot of people think I'm crazy, but yeah, I prefer it.
I think you'd have a good conversation with the good old Adam Alashire, because we touched in with his camera earlier on the show. He has a similar Formula rim that he runs on the oval, so maybe you guys have something in common. Bobby Zelensky, I mean, he's good in Formula Rim, so you're not limited to success if you're running a different setup. Jonathan, I'll give you one more now. I don't want to annoy you too much. We're in Daytona Beach. Are you a beach person or a pool person?
I'd say pool because you're not gonna get bit by a shark in a pool. That's my thing. I don't.
You're like my mom. She won't go out in the water. She is terrified of sharks.
I haven't been in the ocean in probably 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 years, something like that. So, definitely a pool person.
All right, well, just wanted to get that out of the way. Maybe we'll build a running tally on how many people prefer a beach or a pool here out of Daytona. But Jonathan, we always appreciate the time. We appreciate that you stick around for these post-race shows, and we hope you have a good one as we push into Richmond next Wednesday.
Yep, thank you guys.
Jonathan Jurgensmeyer joining us in his Blue Deuce tonight. We saw him running a KBRN-inspired number 2 last week in the duels, but he's running that typical Penske Blue, that Penske Miller Lite car that he ran to 11th place at the end of this event. Now let's try and work up to, of course, our good friend and broadcast member Francisco Bacalhau as he finishes this race from 12th, right behind Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. Francisco, just tell us how it all happened on that final lap. We kind of knew things were going to break loose at some point. Someone was going to make a move. Happened to be off that final corner. What did you see there?
Oh, man, Kenneth. Heartbreaking for sure that ultimately the end of the race didn't go how I was hoping it would, but nonetheless, it was a really good race, a really good showing on my part. I can kind of walk you through what my mindset was if you can go throughout the final lap at half speed. I could kind of show you what my thought process was as I'm going through that final lap, because it honestly, it's a lot of things at once that really start to show up. So right here, I know at this point anybody at any time can make a run. I see Jurg go up to the middle lane, so I knew that the gap was behind Rot, and I knew that they were going to start merging once they get formed up. So I was leaving Rot at about half a lane, enough to cool his temperatures to keep from blowing him up, because I knew that it would result in us being able to push a little bit better than maybe the outside lanes could. I think one of the biggest things that helped the inside propel here on the back straightaway was the big crash. There was a big crash. I think I'm on the 7th row or so. Yeah, you see right there, the 23, Bauman, Kelly, a couple of cars get in it. Jurg goes up to the top lane. Dixon pulls out. They end up 3 wide. And I thought here I was in a good spot seeing the 3 wide. I was hoping they had enough momentum to continue that up, but Dixon had no help. And then right here, I thought Jurg would move to the 2nd lane and they would all go suit. And I would later find out that they were trying to get him out of there. So knowing that the 2 cars behind me now had momentum and had the gap to be able to go to the outside, my mind jumped to defense. So many people leave the bottom open off of 4 and get turned. I didn't want to do that, but ultimately it resulted in Justin getting to my outside. And I drifted up a tad as an initial flinch, but I think the way he exited off the corner got him a little bit sideways, trying to side draft at the same time, and it just was wrong place at the wrong time for both of us, causing that wreck. Definitely not in a bad mood by any means. It's heartbreaking to lose any race at Daytona, especially the big one, but I put myself in position, and that's really all you can ask for.
Obviously, good positions. I mean, you were leading that charge for all of those laps. You think it super speedways, the leader is always the most vulnerable in that sense, and for you just held on to the throttle, and all of those momentum runs ended up in your favor. To think of how this past week has gone from 4 wide, between winning Duel 2, having a great run there, for tonight recovering nicely and still putting up a top 15 and leading a ton of laps in this race, how would you describe your feelings are in the sim world, and how fun it's been to run 4 wide speed weeks in season 8?
It's been a lot of fun. I'm not a huge fan of the new super speedway package, but I feel like I've learned it a good bit, and I kind of understand how to run it. And in a weird way, I feel that I can run it better. I had a bit of a struggle in the slide job opener in the speed weeks there, but quickly I figured out kind of the niche things you have to do with the package, when you can't go 3 wide, and just how the momentum is working. It's a little bit different, but you can kind of understand it. And obviously the strategy that we ran, that we tried to run all night long, I think that is such a really good strategy that I think towards the end you saw basically the entire field jump ship and go over to that strategy because it's the one to be on, but clearly we were able to execute it best and it put us all in position to win that race. But Speed Weeks, it's been fun. I've enjoyed racing here at Daytona the last couple of weeks. I got to go to the real life Daytona race here this past weekend to celebrate my 23rd birthday, and I believe it or not, I learned just as much watching that Cup race on Saturday night as I did behind the wheel last Wednesday night and even tonight. So I took those notes. I kind of was seeing how to go about it, and ultimately I was able to kind of use what I learned in this race. And honestly, to my surprise, it got me in the position where I'm leading on the last lap, and it's rare. It's the position I prefer being in at super speedways. A lot of people would prefer not to be the leader, but I actually do because you have control of your destiny as the leader with how you make the blocks, but you have to be smart about it too. You can't just go up in front of somebody willy-nilly just because they have a run. So at some point, you just can't make that block and you're going to crash. So you have to kind of fight with whatever you got. But in this case, it was really great moves by everybody behind me trying to win the race, and we just happened to go around. Good job, Michael Walls, on getting that race win, his first career win. I've been racing against Michael Walls on PlayStation 3 since 2016, so it's really good to see him come out here in the sim and get a couple wins.
I know that.
I remember mentioning that,
Yeah.
Francisco, when you and Walls were hooked up. I was like, they have a lot of NASCAR 15 history. I'm wondering if that can add to any chemistry that they got going on here, working nose to tail. I didn't know if you guys like trusted each other that much because this is so much different than that. But I was really curious to see if that led to you trusting him a little bit more with how he was taking care of you from behind.
I'll tell you this, it definitely helps when it's someone that you've known for so long, even if you're not necessarily direct teammates, because he's not a KBueno Racing driver, but he races for the GOAT team. He's a close friend of our general group of drivers. Ethan and I also go back way many years, all the way back to 2016, 17 as well. So we've known each other for that long. So we kind of have an idea of what we'd like to do, what we want to do, even if we aren't always in conversation, because when we raced against each other all those years ago, you learned through the races what each driver did, what they like to do, what are their strengths, weaknesses. And I think even here on the sim, where it's so different, the root nature of our driving is still there. So you can kind of know what to expect, and you kind of know what you have to do to elevate everybody. Because a perfect example is when we've done these alternative strategies, Ethan is a fantastic leader in that strategy, and we feel it is absolutely necessary to have him lead the line most of the time because he's one of our better leaders in that strategy of just getting pure lap time and being able to play everything the right way. So, and that comes with the trusting and the times that we've raced against one another, just getting those reps in. So I think with a driver like Micah, you race against a driver so long, certain amount of times in certain situations, and even going up against him for a couple championships back then in NASCAR 15, you just learn how they race, what they want to do, and it can really help you in certain situations.
All right, well, great race for you nonetheless. We're going to try and go off topic here for just a second. Hey, we've got all of us in here, and for those that are watching on the KBueno Racing Network still, if you don't know already, me, Francisco, Charlie, Keelan, and alongside Eli, Randy, we're all really good friends outside of iRacing, outside of these broadcasts. Look, we missed Bristol 2025. We're missing it. We're going to miss it. We already missed it. It's already over. Are we going to lock in Chicagoland 2026 next year? Please.
Chicagoland, listen.
I mean, we gotta go to Uncle Larry's dinner. That's all I'm saying. We gotta go to Uncle Larry's 4th of July celebration.
Yes, and for those of you who don't know, this is Charlie speaking. I live in Chicago, or in the Chicago area. I don't live in Chicago. I live about an hour and a half out. So that's a local race for me. I've been going to Chicagoland since I was a baby, all the way up until it closed. So that's a race that means a lot to me. So this is my offer to you guys, and you guys are more than welcome to stay with me, and I can host you guys for the weekend. But I think this
Are you
needs to
inviting
happen.
everybody watching right now?
Well,
I agree.
Well,
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, he's back.
No, but,
Okay, he's back.
Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, but all of us Chicagoland, book it, guys. It's gonna happen.
Hey, look, but when they made that race public on the NASCAR schedule next year, Charlie was going crazy because not only are they going back to Joliet and the Oval, but a good place for us to potentially meet up. So for those watching on the show right now, fingers crossed the plans make it out of the group chat and we can actually get to Chicagoland. But I mean, we'll see. We'll definitely see, but it'll be a lot of fun. Let's try and join some of the other drivers now that they'll bring us into the KBueno post-race show. We've got a pair of great drivers, both of them for the Murray Beatty Motorsports camp. This is Christopher Bishop and Kyle Benson. What's going on, guys?
Oh,
Hey,
you
what's
know,
up?
just chilling, man.
All right, y'all. So you guys are working together at the end of this race as you crack open a bush light.
There you
We'll
go.
get into that later. But Kyle, you were making a rocket ship move in that third lane. It was working for a while. I saw Chris take note of it from the middle and said, hey, I'm going to follow in with my teammate. We're going to work together here. What did you guys see, starting with you, Christopher, as the leader in that group and taking note of that the line on the outside?
Yeah, I mean, when I first got up there, we just saw a clear track in front of us. We thought we were definitely going to have a clear shot at pushing to the front. Then the two jumped up in front of us, and he slipped up one time and left just enough room for us to get up above him again. And then all the mayhem happened, and we ended up right in the middle of it. Benson got down and was able to miss it, but it just came up right in front of me, and it's kind of stuck there. So we just kept it going and tried to drive through it.
All right,
Get
now
the best finish we could.
Now, Kyle, as the pusher in that group, you see Christopher come up in front of you on this white flag lap. What are you thinking in that moment?
I'm thinking, hell yeah, dude. I've been my main thing as a teammate, is to push guys up front. And hold on, I'm taking a swig of my beer. And we worked really well together, and I really wanted to push at least somebody because I think I was a better pusher than a leader. And I saw Chris jump up there, and I was really happy because I knew that we had a good shot with Eric pushing us. But with the bomb that went off in turn 4, you just kind of hope and find a hole. And I thought Chris was going to get through. I was following him, and he got tagged up in it. And I just went left hand down and went through the grass and finished 4th. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was the most 4 wide finish you can get. But definitely wanted to get Chris's first win. It would have meant a lot to me to get him there.
And talk about more of this alliance with Murray Beatty Motorsports. And I'm going to bring up a point that Jonathan Juergensmeyer told me earlier in this post-race show. He says this league is more team-oriented than he's ever seen before. It seems like in this series, there are a lot more drivers that are in long-term groups. You guys are in one of them, and probably the original group, honestly, from 2020, the first several seasons of 4Wide, you guys have been around for a while, working with each other and getting to know each other off of iRacing as well. So how important has that been in your guys' relationship on the track and how it's formed off the track when you guys hang out after or before these races?
Oh, it's huge. With these plate races, they're so team oriented now that you need at least 4 or 5 guys to be competitive. And you saw with your guys, the BBR guys, they had 8 guys pit and they put 13 seconds on the lead pack. So once you have these guys that have been working together for such a long time, I mean, DBR has been here since the beginning. Same with Overcorrect Motorsports. Those guys. And now BBR, they're starting to become a really announced and well-known team. And these relationships you build, it's surprising how these relationships you build in iRacing, and you just go, excuse me, the beer's coming. These guys, you make these relationships outside of me and Chris went to the Million, a few years back, and we've personally met each other, and it's definitely it's cool to be able to bond over this league, and that's kind of what made this league great. And this is why I love coming here on Wednesdays every week. I missed it. I love 4Wide. I hope we can run it forever. But yeah, dude, it's a lot of fun just to take a few hours out of a Wednesday and and get to race with your buddies.
Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much put it right there. Getting me and Murray have met in life, in real life, and we've been to some truck race and ARCA race and stuff like that. And like he said, me and Benson went to the Sprint Car Million, and Benson went out this year to Dover. Went to all 3 races, didn't you?
Yeah, I
With
think it was.
Murray
I
and
think it was all
Reedy.
3. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, it's been a great group of guys and everybody in 4 wide. We were just in the waiting room waiting to get interviewed and talking to Eric Schaefer about Bristol. All the guys from 4 wide going up to Bristol this year. I guess there's going to be a bunch of them. So it's great. And as far as the team orientation in 4 wide, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of solid teams, and especially on the super speedways, you got to have a good team that has been racing with each other for a long time and can work with each other pretty well. So.
I'll tell y'all what, I'm proud of all of you guys for getting the plans out of the group chat, because obviously we couldn't figure that one out when it came to Bristol 2025. So congratulations to you guys.
You see, Keelan, I realized that a year early and went.
We got to take notes.
Yeah, you take notes. Take notes.
I do really agree with y'all though that the team, you need to have a team to be competitive in this league, and I saw that firsthand last year. Indianapolis, I think I made my first start, and I was all the way in the back with no friends around me, and I got took out. So then we went to Talladega and racing with those guys around there. That was a lot of fun to get out there with some buddies in a call and just get out there and run. So I feel like y'all are hitting the nail on the head that it is so important, and I really enjoy the friendships that we make in this 4 wide series. Chris, I'm a big fan of you because every time I post a message, you're always reacting to it for me. So I really appreciate that from you.
You ain't got to do it yourself now. You have Chris do it for you.
Yeah. But Kyle, anytime I say something to you, I get ghosted. I tried telling you go Steelers last week, and you just ignored me.
Dude. I was so mad, dude. It's the plate package, man, got me so angry and so pumped up, dude. I didn't know what to do with myself. I went into a corner and started crying. Didn't know what to do with myself.
Drinking beer.
Oh yeah, dude.
That's what it was. Yeah. Don't worry, I don't need you anymore. I had Michael Walls tell me go Tigers earlier after he won the race, so that's all. That's all I need.
That's all it was.
I'll tell you what, Chris, I don't like that Florida profile picture you got in here though. That's the one thing I'd have to change about your profile. Who makes y'all's paint schemes though? I've been really curious about it because y'all always come out with the best looking schemes in my opinion. That Blackstone car that I saw today, I love that thing so much. Is that Tyler who puts them all together?
I did that one. Tyler generally does our paints.
Yeah,
Tyler's been super busy with putting the season together for the league, and he's got a lot going on at work right now, and he's been really busy. So I figured I'd jump on and save him some time and do a paint for myself. But he's going to put us together. We're going to do some special team paint for September. Is it September, Benson? That we're
I think so.
do?
September, and I know the Nashville
it's cancer
race.
awareness.
Yeah, the pediatric stuff. I think we might be doing that. I know Nashville will show up with something music related. The Sabrina Carpenter car was fast as per usual. But definitely got something cool in the books. Hopefully we got some cool stuff coming. But yeah, Tyler's been really busy. He's been really working on this season in general. This was we bumped up a little bit because we wanted to get back racing. But definitely it's been a toll on a lot of the admin team, mainly Tyler. He does a lot of the heavy lifting in the background, and I just try to keep people in line, but that doesn't work. I just message Tyler because I don't know. So
he's our social media director. He does a great job.
I'm just a social media guy. Something. I just post the funny stuff. So
I turned in my application after Tyler fired you, and then but
then he hired me. If you have any complaints though, make sure you message Austin Reedy everywhere.
Yeah, he takes
Instagram,
he's a
Twitter.
complaint department for 4 wide.
Yeah,
I'll send him a message on everything just so.
Yeah, make sure you do that. He likes that. He likes that a lot. And make sure you do it at like 10 o'clock at night when he's sleeping. Just make sure he gets it done.
So Kyle, you were the one responsible for the rhyming with Grug posts. that happened last season?
Yes, that is true. You see something funny on TikTok, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna make this into a Twitter post, and then Tyler's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, just doing
So
as usual,
is
dude.
that why he fired you in the first place?
Yeah, he fired me because I said, I think we were on to Michigan or something. I said, we're going to Michigan, rhymes with Krug. It made no sense. And then he was like, you're fired. And I was like, okay.
I think
And
he's asking too many questions. He needs to let you
he
just do your
honestly
job.
is. Honestly, dude, I tell him, let me do my job, and he just doesn't like it. When I was at Dover, we were all very, very drunk in the campground with CJ. And, I said, we need an AMR safety team at Dover in the infield, and nobody came to our aid, unfortunately. So.
Chris, we gotta have a sponsored social media post on your behalf at some point. We gotta have everyone from Murray Reedy Motorsports tap in for a social post at some point.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll,
I think we let Reedy do it one time, and he spelled everything wrong, so he was kind of banned. So
that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, it's just Reedy. He just can't spell. Listen, he can't spell.
He has trouble talking.
That may be why I didn't get hired when I sent him my application, Benson, because y'all told me to send it to Reedy, so I sent it to Reedy, and he left me on red.
Yeah, that was the whole point. Make sure you guys send that stuff to Tyler. Just send it to everybody but me.
I don't even know if Tyler would say yes, Keelan. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Only thing Reedy takes care of is complaints.
Yes. Oh, also, we have an Instagram, at 4Wide Racing. If you want to go there, we got that one now. Thanks, Tyler.
I was the first follower.
Hey, there we go, dude. It's a milestone, man. We got at least one. You can't have two because if you have two's a crowd, and then if you have three, it gets a little awkward. So, but it's like drinking beer. If you have one, you need to have another one because one gets lonely, and then you have two.
Okay.
You got to keep it even.
Just keep going.
It's
then you just keep going. And then next thing you know, TikTok's never coming.
This sounds like Francisco's journey into sports gambling. I'm not gonna lie. It's happened over the last week, and he's in golf.
Yes. Bet on sports. Bet on sports.
His first parlay like 30 times his money, so now he's going crazy.
Oh boy,
man. Tonight I lost the race, but I also. Bryce Harper cost me a shot at 10,000.
Well, that's your thing. You bet on Bryce Harper. Don't ever do that. Don't do it. I've done it before too. I'm a Phillies fan myself. Don't ever bet on Bryce Harper.
Needed at least 2 runs, 2 RBIs, and a hit. That combination of 2 of either of those things.
We'll
and he
never
only gave
win
me
in
1.
City Field. We'll never win in City Field. It's fine. Don't ever.
That was my only missing leg, and it was so upsetting.
All right, so
it's all right. Devon Achane cost me $5,000, so I was pretty pissed.
All right, so I've got a question here. We're theming it to Daytona just a bit. I asked Jurgensmeyer this earlier on in the show, and I'm gonna ask both of you. I'll start with you, Chris. Are you a beach person or a pool person, and why?
Well, I grew up in Florida. I'm in Indiana now, but I grew up in Florida, so. I would have to say I actually enjoy a pool more now, but for ocean purposes, I really enjoyed surfing and jet skiing. So if I'm just going to relax and swim, probably pool. If I'm going to do sports, probably ocean.
So do you've got some surfing tricks up your bag that we don't know about?
Yeah, I did when I was younger. I wouldn't say I do now.
All right. Well, Kyle, do you have a preference? Are you beach, pool team? What team are you?
Oh, I love the beach. If I can get to the beach, I would. But I definitely enjoy the pool. I just like both, honestly. If I were to choose one, though, definitely the beach. For sure.
Anywhere you can have a beer, it's a good place to be.
That is true. That is true. Having a beer at Daytona Beach is a peak bucket list item for me, and that's what I want to do.
You got to go a little south. Go to New Smyrna. Avoid all the tourists.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
That's where JJ Hill is at. New Smyrna.
Hey, there you go.
That's where JJ Hill's at. You can come and meet all of us at Dirty South Racing down there. I'm sorry, Chris. I don't mean to cut you off every time you try to say something.
I was just saying my wife's from Ormond Beach. Originally, that's where she grew up. Just north of Daytona.
That is pretty cool. Well, it seems like we're talking about the summer I turned into water because that's kind of how we are right now. But
yeah.
Christopher, Kyle, a great time talking with you both. I know Christopher, we we don't talk to you as much, but I think this season we'll definitely be talking to you a lot more. And it was great looking car tonight, a great run, Kyle. As always, Daytona seems to be your place in many ways, and tonight it ended up with 2 top 10 finishes, 4th and P6 for both of y'all. So I'd say pretty successful for everyone crashing at the trial in the white flag lap.
Yeah. And, I don't know if you've had a chance to look yet, but we came out of it leading team points, so not a bad night for.
There we go.
Reedy.
Yeah.
Trying to take the fight to whatever is now not Stonks, but still kind of Stonks. I think they figured out a name now, which is good.
Yeah, which is like over.
I can't believe it.
But it's still gonna forever be not Stonks, still kind of Stonks. But good thing we finished up, man. I finished up my beer, so
there we go.
You know, hey, we're doing good.
Is that second one eyeing you?
I mean, it's talking to me nice, but I think I'm gonna have to put it down for tonight.
You don't want to leave the first one lonely.
I know. I'm going against my own rules. Maybe I'll have one in the shower later. It'll be all right. Shower beers are peak.
You can't just leave it there when it's looking at you like it's Ana de Armas.
I see the case behind you, buddy.
We don't talk
right
about.
the back of his
We don't. No, we don't
Look,
talk.
maybe Kyle's keeping it like Sabrina
There you go.
Carpenter, short and sweet with these beers. He doesn't want to extend the
There you
time.
go.
But
you see the bush. We're not going to talk about the acid rap vinyl right there that's sitting there. Like, come on now, best album of all time. One of the best of all time. Don't at me.
Is that a piano behind you, by the way?
That is a piano, but
It's
we're
a
not going to
piano.
talk about that.
well,
play it?
No, I don't play piano.
Well, when I interviewed Kyle last season, for those watching on the KBueno Racing Network, you have to go back a ways. I don't remember the specific race, but we had a feature on Kyle mid-season, and one of those questions I did ask was his entry into hip-hop and the Chance the Rapper album in the back. He says that Kendrick is the GOAT. I hope that's still true.
Yes.
I hope
It
that's
is
still
it
your
will forever
opinion
be
now.
true. Yes.
Did you like the
Yes, it
big
is.
day?
It was all right. I haven't listened to too much of it. But yeah, dude. Acid Rap is still my favorite, one of my favorite hip hop albums. Recently Maxo Cream is very good. I'm a big fan of Maxo Cream. And those guys. Mexican OT is pretty good. Big X is always gonna be on the playlist no matter what. And those guys. So, but definitely, I definitely listen to myself listen to Chance the Rapper more than once. Especially
Okay.
that album because that's just peak album, peak vibes, peak everything. So,
Chris, do you have a favorite
Before I
genre?
let you go, Kyle. Go
I
ahead.
don't know if that I'd say I have a favorite genre. I listen to everything. I'm rock and roll, country, rap, 80s rock, heavy metal, you name it. I listen to a little bit of everything. Just depends on the mood.
yeah, I feel that. I listen about everything too. I got on an Olivia Dean. Olivia Dean is very good, by the way. Don't at me. She makes very good music. I need y'all to get up on that. I've been recently listening to her, and Fleetwood Mac is fire, as per.
Yep.
Stepped into Claro.
Claro's solid. I won't lie. I've listened to some of her stuff. Bida Booby, I think was her freaking name is. I don't know.
Doobie.
Yeah, there you go. The white girl manipulation music, very good.
Can't go
That's
wrong with
always
it.
peak. Can't go wrong. What was I listening to today? Oh, I had some Josh Turner playing too. Some little bit of country stuff playing.
There you go.
But yeah, I've listened about everything. I don't have a preference. I just kind of like, just listen to pretty much anything. I don't have a preference.
My son's got me listening to a lot of Suicide Boys lately.
Oh man.
There you go.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say,
Before I let you go,
Keelan? Yeah, but say.
I just wanted to let you know my girlfriend's a fan of your cat. I guess your cat made a cameo
Hell
the other
yeah,
day
dude.
when you were
Yeah,
on
it's-
camera during the duels.
Yeah, I think it was
she's-
Smokey, the gray one. She walks around a lot. She is a good cat, very good cat. Elmore's upstairs, and I think Hamish is upstairs too. So, but yeah, very good cats. I like cats, but I'm more of a dog guy personally, and my girlfriend's cats. So
Is that Hamish as in the Hunger Games?
yes,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm a
That makes
Hunger
sense.
Games winner, hey Mitch.
That's true.
Yep.
That is true. But I'm mainly a dog guy. I had 2 dogs back home. One of them unfortunately had to pass away on me, which was pretty upsetting. But we got Oakley back home. Miss him a lot. He's a boxer, cutest damn thing in the world. Tries to bite your hands off when he's got teeth about that big. So, but yeah, I'm more of a dog guy personally, but definitely I like cats. I just like pets. Pets are cool, except snakes. I don't like snakes.
Yeah, that's fair.
I saw one run over on campus yesterday.
Good.
That's fair.
I don't like snakes.
Snakes are very scary. Not
if I
gonna
could,
lie.
I would launch. I'd launch them into space. That and gnats.
Well, we didn't see any cars into space today, which is a good sign. You said
We
that the whole
tried.
field was on flip watch. I don't think anyone flipped over today. So it was not a Juan Escamilla from last season where it took 15 laps for somebody to flip. And everyone stayed on the ground. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That just means it's coming at Richmond next week.
Oh, it's gonna. I about flipped at
Oh
Richmond.
my god.
I was on my side on the backstretch of Richmond, and I about went ass over 10 cup. Oh, I can't say that. Dang. Oh my god. What am I doing?
You almost made it. Almost
what
made
are
it.
we doing? Oh man, I'm sorry. I screw up the paint scheme. I cuss on the broadcast. This is not good. Not good.
You just can't do nothing
Well,
right. can you?
remember Nicholas Bauman was sideways against the fence at Iowa. That happened with
Oh
Jaden
yeah,
Porter.
yeah,
That
he
did
was.
happen.
I threw a mean block on him at a 4. He should have wrecked me. He gave me a mulligan, but I definitely should have been in the fence, like power washing me out, like in the fence. But he cut me a break there. But yeah, he don't worry. He gave me a big old block on the backstretch too. That was pretty cool. Kind
I
of.
had you two finishing 1-2 tonight, and you both disappointed me, unfortunately.
Well, if I didn't have bad luck, I had no luck. So it's just every time I go to a race.
You led the most laps.
Teammate.
No, I didn't. Juan did.
Oh, well, you led like
By
21 of
3.
them. So
Hey, look, there's the
you led
graphic.
20, look,
Look at that,
yeah, you led
21.
21 of them. You led over a fifth of the race. I think you had a pretty successful day.
It was okay. I wish, pretty successful day.
Dude, I would kill to lead 21 laps.
Dude, I would just kill to just win a race. I
I
haven't
don't think
won
Keelan's ever led
forever.
that many laps in his life.
Yeah.
I don't think
Listen-
I have either. Maybe,
listen, Keelan,
maybe an
you
official 1200 SOF. But
Keelan, you show up to a Daytona race or a Dega race, I'll push you about for 20 laps up front. How about that?
well,
If
you
you wanna-
said that last year, and then I never saw you.
Yeah, because you had 9 guys in your little team
Hey,
chat and you just
wait.
drove away. No, I'm just being honest. I'm telling you, you need 10 guys
That
to
sounded
win.
so different for a second. It sounded like you were saying you had 9 guys in.
The longer we
chat
have
clip
them
that.
on air, the worse it's gonna get as the
It's
the
getting
beers
worse.
roll in.
That-
Oh, I'm still a 1 beer friend. We can keep going. We can go till midnight. Well, it's almost midnight.
That second one is calling you.
Oh, dude,
You're
if
gonna
we
make
keep
me
going
open
on
that
this,
mini fridge.
I'm about to say we keep going on this, man. I might kill a 30. I don't care.
Ooh.
Yeah, but it's all right. We
That's
ain't gonna
cool
do all
tomorrow.
that. We ain't gonna do all that.
All right, guys. Well, Kyle, Chris, we really, of course, appreciate the time. Thank you for waiting this long to join us on the KBueno
thanks
Post
for
Show.
having us.
And hopefully we get to talk to you guys a lot more through the season. I know that we will in one way or the other on this post-race show. Perhaps maybe one or both of you guys end up in victory lane this year. Hopefully that's the case and the team ends up successful. But again, much appreciated. It was great talking to you guys, and we'll see y'all at Richmond next Wednesday.
Yeah,
All right, thanks for having us.
That's Kyle Benson on the left, Christopher Bishop on the right. 2 great members of this 4Wide Racing TJ's Team Series, and joining us for a little while to kind of chit-chat on the KBueno Racing Network. I think we're going to have to fix up the swearing issue. It's happened a lot more recently, and we've had it with BBR drivers, Murray Reed Motorsports drivers. Brian Dixon said it, finishing second, but a fantastic race overall tonight from Daytona, just to cap off the feelings of what's still a processing thing while we're trying to figure out how this all ended up here from Daytona, where Michael Walls ends up winning in his very first start. Just another quick look at the Season 8 schedule as we roll forward. We go short track racing next Wednesday at Richmond. You won't want to miss that. September 3rd, Wednesday night, 8:40 p.m. Eastern for the 1,000 Islands Correct pre-race show before we kick things off in the green flag at 9:10 p.m. Eastern. We'll go to Nashville for music-themed nights after on race number 3, then over to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll go road course racing over in Canada, Montreal. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve will host another race this season. The Auto Club, then Kentucky, Bristol, Pocono, and the list goes on until we're all-star racing in December at Homestead of Miami. We break into the new year in style at the virtual Texas Motor Speedway. And then, of course, fight for the playoffs that leads to the new championship venue of South California and Auto Club Speedway. That will be the finale in late April of 2026. But Richmond next week, we'll take it one step at a time as we close things off tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in with us on our KBRN post-race show. Another huge shout out to all of the drivers that joined us tonight. Jonathan Juergensmeyer, to our good friend Francisco Bacalhau, to those two you were hearing for a little while, Christopher Bishop and Kyle Benson. And on behalf of Tyler Murray, the league owner here at 4Wide, and for everybody at the KBueno Racing Network, for Eli Comerford, Nate Polite, Francisco in the booth and on the racetrack, Charlie Beyer and Keelan Belsha, I'm Kenneth Bueno saying so long. Ticking the clock to midnight. We're at Daytona, and we're at Richmond next week. But until now, we continue the celebrations for Michael Wall's career win #1 comes here at Daytona.